Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to GameFace, episode 472, right here on Sifted at sifted.net. I'm Shane Satterfield. I'm the host of this podcast, and alongside me to do this awesome thing that we do every Tuesday, of course, is the one, the only, Matt Keil. Mm-hmm. How are you, Matt? How's your week been?
Pretty good.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
You're of Irish descent, correct?
I am.
So today's your holiday.
Sorta.
You gonna drink some green beer?
No. We're not going to do that.
I haven't drank green beer since I was like 22 or something like that.
I don't think I've ever had green beer.
Really?
No, I'm not a beer person.
I used to be. I've gone in waves. When I was in college, I drank a lot of beer. Then I started drinking liquor, and now I'm kind of half
I've
and
had
half.
Guinness in Ireland, I understand.
Yeah.
But it doesn't taste like that here.
It does not. That is true, actually. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the St. Patrick's Day music we played pre-stream today. I played some U2, which I will admit, other than the Pogues, is the only Irish band that I'm aware of. And definitely the only Irish band that I'm a big fan of. And U2's last few albums I have not been a fan of at all. I really like early U2, which is why I played War for you guys. But yeah, not a lot of Irish groups that kind of managed to leak onto my radar throughout my life.
No, there's the Cranberries, and
I do like. Yeah.
I like Black 47, but they're kind of obscure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do have any curiosity, go look up Black 47's song Funky Kaylee. You'll never spell that right, but it should come out. Well, I guess Gaelic people would spell it right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's one of those Irish names. It's not pronounced the way it's spelled. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, Irish people are busy doing other things, I guess, to some degree. But, you know, there's a lot of Irish band stuff. And Irish music was important this year through Sinners.
That's right, yeah. Is Clannad from Ireland? Is that band Clannad from Ireland?
Probably.
I think they are. I think they do, like traditional Irish music. They're mixed with...
Flogging Molly, the chat said.
I didn't know that, actually. The Flogging Molly was from Ireland.
I did know that. I mean, you call that, gotta be.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I hope you guys are prepared for an awesome St. Patrick's Day. One thing I will say is if you go out and you have fun and you do go drink some green beer for yourself this evening, please make sure you take an Uber or a cab. Do not drink and drive. I've lost some close friends to DUI, and I always try to say during big holidays to make sure that you do not drive if you've been drinking. Make sure you take a cab or an Uber. Crew up with some people so it's cheap. Have some fun. That's what you're supposed to do when you're in 20s and 30s and 40s. Go have fun on St. Patrick's Day. Matt and I are all old now. We're like, I
mean, we never really went out on St. Patrick's Day anyway. That's amateur night.
It is. And that's what I was telling Matt before we started today is like, even when I was into my heavy drinking phase, like around college, like my friends and we really didn't go out on St. Patrick's Day.
No, you're just asking for trouble.
That's a night that like people start fights and like people like try to run you over. And I just would stay home and be like, okay, you crazy kids go have your fun. But
you've also got Thin Lizzy.
Enya. Enya, okay.
The Chieftains.
I've never even heard of them, I don't think.
The Chieftains you probably like the Chieftains.
Yeah.
And then there's a modern Irish music thing going with bands like Lankum, Kneecap, and the Merry Wallopers.
The new generation of Irish bands.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But no, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Snow Patrol.
Oh, they're great, actually. Yeah. I really like them. I didn't know they were Irish either.
Yeah.
This is great. You guys are learning a lot about Irish rock bands today.
You are right, and you were right. Clannad is Irish.
I thought they were. They do traditional music with a modern twist.
The Corrs, yeah, they did some pop stuff in the late '90s, and of course Bewitched.
That's a band.
Starwitched. Yeah.
I don't remember.
They're a pop band. They're in a number of games at some point, like soundtrack stuff.
Gotcha.
I remember them.
So yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day. I totally screwed up last week.
And Sinead O'Connor.
Oh yeah. Duh. Yeah. The most obvious one.
I mean, not a band per se, but musical.
I just watched a little mini documentary about her performance where she ripped up the picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live. Like I knew all about that, but I watched a little like 30-minute documentary about it that added a bunch of context that I was surprised to learn about. But yeah, it's funny how that has become sort of one of the most iconic moments in rock and roll.
Yeah, and SNL.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
And she was right.
She was right. As it turns out, she was right. No, everybody. Bastille. Mitchell Ness says, I did not know that they were from Ireland either. Big Smoke 82 says U2. I was playing them before the stream started today as an homage. So anyway, hopefully you guys have some kind of fun planned for St. Patrick's Day, and if so, you can go out and have some fun. And of course, Hopefully you got that bottle of LS Cream so you can make some awesome drinks tonight. We'll get to that in a little bit. What else we got here? Coming in hot this morning, we got some information for our housekeeping that Starfield is launching for PlayStation 5 on April 7th. I think we kind of knew this day was always going to come.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about the Elder Scrolls 6 right now, Matt? Do you think that that's going to be like a timed exclusive for...
No, I think that's going to be simultaneous.
You think it'll be like a...
If Todd has the bandwidth for it to do both versions at the same time, I think they will do it at the same time.
Huh.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
where
at
the
this
money
point,
is.
why wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's absolutely where the money is.
It's crazy, though, to think you have this jewel sitting there if you're Xbox and you're just going to share it with the
but
world.
they know no one's going to do that.
I mean,
No
they
one's
made
gonna
that
buy
decision a while ago, and now they have to live with the consequences of it.
They're living with it just fine, judging by the Forza Horizon sales.
Right, the sales that they're getting. How do you think Starfield's going to do on PlayStation, though?
Not Forza Horizon numbers.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I don't think so either.
It has a reputation, shall we say?
Yeah.
And it was what 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it hasn't really. I mean, everyone was kind of waiting for some other announcement. That I think this must have been it. But there was an announcement that was coming. And Starfield. And Todd Howard already said, like, this is not Starfield 2.0. Just chill out. You know.
Well, there is a huge update coming out on the 7th. Like 2 updates actually. There's one launched today, the smaller, and then a big one's coming on the same day, April 7th, alongside the PlayStation 5 version. So that maybe should get people back into it. Are you going to give it a go again with new content?
No, my Starfield is Star Wars now.
Yeah.
I'm actually upset.
There's no going back now?
I'm going to have to wait on the update until the guy who does the Star Wars mod list has fixed it so it'll work with the new version.
Yeah.
I don't really see a reason to go back to this. Like I
have no inkling to go back. And I didn't even finish it. Did you finish it?
No, I got like most of the power. I just petered out on it. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, I eventually lost interest.
Because the thing that kept
the
thing that kept me playing Skyrim, and still, I've played Skyrim like 5 times. And like only 2 of those were intentional.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets you is like the side quests and the side content just pulls you through. Like it's just like, I gotta look through this cave, I gotta look at this thing. It's like the breadcrumbs keep you going. And Starfield just doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, I agree.
You got the main quest, which is kind of boring with a bunch of milquetoast characters who I don't actually really like.
Yeah.
I don't like anyone.
I didn't really either. I didn't really hate him either.
No, I don't have any bad feelings. I'm just like, I don't like if I was here in real life, I would just sort of quietly leave, and just never come back.
I get it.
I don't dislike you people. I just don't really feel the need to be in a room with you.
Especially for 60 hours.
One of the craziest things about that Star Wars mod is it has been slightly rewritten and revoiced to like be Star Warsy. Like it's the same. The story is basically the same. The characters in whatever they call the organization you're in.
Oh, you mean the plot from Starfield is still carried over?
The plot is still there because they didn't redesign the missions or anything, but it's just been as hosed down in Star Wars juice, as I like to say. But they had to rewrite it and revoice. They revoiced it with a bunch of voice actors.
You talked about it on the show
and
a while ago.
Just a little tweaking they did to make some like the rich guy who funds everything. He's now a super rich Chiss guy, like the same alien race as Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, okay.
And so he's the blue guy, but like he's like got a haughty sort of like better than you sort of attitude, and he's so much more interesting than the guy in the normal game. Like they're all funny. They work so hard to make them all so inoffensive and likable that they're all incredibly boring,
forgettable.
And like the characters in the Star Wars mod are all kind of abrasive and asshole because that's what Star Wars is. Like everyone's kind of a dick,
Yeah.
And it all is so much better.
Yeah. Well, welcome to GameFace 472. We have a great show for you guys this week. We're going to review Monster Hunter Stories 3, which has really impressed me. I played a little bit of it a few weeks ago and talked about it. I've been playing the full game. We're going to talk about that here. We're going to review another pleasant surprise for me, believe it or not, John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. I enjoyed. Believe it or not, we're going to talk about that. We're going to review Game of the Year Indie Darling, Slay the Spire 2. We're also going to talk about, and I saw a lot of chatter about this in the pre-stream chat here on Twitch, we're going to talk about the DLSS 5 controversy. Yesterday, NVIDIA unveiled its new rev of its frame generation technology, and people are freaking out about it, and we're going to talk about it here on the show. We have an awesome show for you guys, for sure. Lots of big reviews, lots of big news stories. It should be a good one. And I think that's it. Before we get into the show, of course, let's hear from our sponsor, LS Cream.
It's LS Cream, the fine cream liqueur crafted by fellow gamer and sifter Stevens Charles. Inspired by the Haitian drink crémasse, LS Cream delivers an award-winning experience with every single pour. One sip and you'll see why. It's a party favorite. The silky blend of fresh cream and premium neutral grain spirits mixes great with everything. I dare you to put a shot in your coffee. I've been drinking it for years and still, I find new combinations that taste incredible. LS Cream is the kind of drink that keeps surprising you thanks to its notes of vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and coconut. Take it to any gathering and watch it steal the spotlight. We've never seen anyone resist. Ready to join the fan club? Head to creamls.com/sifted for recipes, retailers, and online orders. That's creamls.com/sifted.
Well, it is St. Patrick's Day, and a lot of people drink Bailey's Irish Cream for the holiday, but I'm telling you, let's start with 2026. Let's change that. Stop buying Bailey's. Start buying LS Cream. Go to creamls.com/sifted. You can find a bottle. It's not too late for St. Patrick's Day today to find yourself a bottle locally. Go to creamls.com/sifted. There's a bottle locator there. Check it out. You can find yourself a bottle. Celebrate it. Spread the love. Go visit somebody and take LS Cream with you and tell them exactly what I just told you, that this is the new replacement for Bailey's Irish Cream, and then mix them up a drink with it, and they will agree with you. I know it. Go to creamls.com/sifted. While you're there, fill out the forms to join the LS Cream 5K challenge. Make a drink. Make a drink tonight. Make a green drink with LS Cream for St. Patrick's Day. Take a picture of it. Share it on social media. Tag LS Cream. You could win $5,000 USD. Today is a great day to drink some LS Cream. Go to creamls.com/sifted. All right. It's time to get into the show proper. We're going to talk about Monster Hunter Stories 3 again. I have been playing the final version of this game. I'm about 20 hours into it at this point. I had played a good bit before, too. I had played 7 hours or something like that. And I did have to play.
Demo.
The demo was long. And
I haven't played the final version, but I did play the demo.
And here's the thing. So I played the demo on PC, and then I got review code from Capcom on PlayStation 5, so I had to go back and play through all the stuff again. I will say this. Skipping all the cinematics and knowing what to do, I got through those 7 hours in like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot of talking.
There's a lot of cinematics in this. Like, this is, I mean, probably the most cinematic RPG released in 2026 so far. Now, I really enjoyed, shockingly, Neo 3. I thought it was a really great RPG, and some people call it a Souls-like. I think it was probably the baby's version of the Souls-like, which is probably why I enjoyed it. But I have been enjoying this more.
I think Neo wanders into character action more than anything else.
Yeah, it does seem to kind of straddle that line now. They nerfed it for sure and changed it with sort of the open world design. I like that game. I am liking this game a lot more. How much of the demo did you get to play, Matt?
Oh, like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh, okay. You got to play a good bit
far
then.
into it. Yeah, I got all the stuff I think it wanted to show me out of the way, and I liked it. I will probably play the final version eventually, but it's just too much to do at once, and it was to the point that buying a full price game that I knew I was only going to play a couple more hours, and I'll probably come back to it when it's on sale later. Nothing against it, but Crimson Desert's out in 2 days, and
it is. Yep, and I can't wait to check that out for myriad reasons.
That is more and more. I'm just like, what's the catch?
Yeah, it feels
like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like, okay, it has all these cool things, but
what's the but?
We're going to come take your cats or something. Like it feels like there's some kind of like horrible trade-off that has to happen for that game to exist. And it's like, well. Okay, but we don't have any camera inversion.
Yeah.
It's like, or like pushing up makes you run backwards.
Yeah, right.
And you can't change it. What's going on? Like something's up.
I hear you. Well, we did talk about this a couple weeks ago, so I'm not going to beleaguer a lot of the stuff we discussed the first time. I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of the plot. Basically, you play as a prince of your kingdom. There's another rival kingdom that you've been...
Or princess.
I'm sorry?
Or princess.
Or princess, that's right, you can play it. And then I do wonder what happens later, because, anyway, maybe you can fill me in. I don't know if you made it that far in the demo. So anyway, you are a prince or princess of this kingdom. There's another rival kingdom that you've been basically allies with for many, many years, But there's this plague that has come across the land, and the rival kingdom that you've been dealing with, this kingdom called Vermeil, thinks that you may have something to do with it. Basically, your two kingdoms do not trust each other at all. This event happens where they find this magical egg. It cracks. Two of these creatures come out. It's this huge sign that the world is changing. Your mother, the queen. All right, yeah. Your mother, the queen, takes off with one of the creatures, and I guessed that from what I had played earlier. As it turns out, that is true, and it's not really a spoiler. They reveal that very early in the game.
It's pretty obvious.
It is obvious too. Your mom takes one of them, and you're left with the other one. You're the only one that can ride the Rathalos. So everyone thinks you're this special person or whatever. Anyway, these two kingdoms are almost at war. And what happens is the other kingdom, Vermeil, sends, and I'm playing as a prince, so they sent the princess from their kingdom to come to your kingdom and basically live with you. Did you get to that point in the game?
They send a prince.
I was wondering. If you play as the princess, they send the prince?
Yeah, I believe so.
Interesting. Okay. So for me, I played as the prince. They sent their princess to me, and she is quite the looker. No shocker there. And basically, she lives with you. And I mentioned this the first time that I talked about this game on GameFace, but I'm going to say it again. This game really can teach some things to kids about how people are different and accepting people's differences. Like, this game really demonstrates that. The princess comes to your kingdom, and she had all these built-up preconceived notions about you and your kingdom because of what people had told her back in her kingdom. She gets to your kingdom, she realizes that is all BS, and in some ways kind of turns, ultimately, on her kingdom a little bit and sides with you because she starts to realize that your kingdom is not what she's been told. And along the way, some serious stuff happens. That's the other thing I would say about this. This game looks like a kid's game.
And the others were.
They
Especially
were.
the first one. The first one was very good. This series seems to be trying to grow up with the audience that played the first game to some degree.
I would probably not recommend that like 5 to 8-year-olds play this. There's some pretty heavy stuff that happens in this.
I'd say this is more targeted for teens.
Yeah. I mean, they could probably handle it, but they may have a nightmare that night, or they may start asking you weird questions.
I mean, it kind of depends. If your kids are watching K-pop Demon Hunters, they're going to handle this fine.
You're probably right. But there's some emotional stuff that happens in this that even
they may wonder where the songs are, though.
Yeah. But there's some stuff that happens in this emotionally that made me take a step back and think of for a minute. So the plot in this definitely aged up. It definitely appeals to an older audience. It's not like hardcore M-rated or anything like that, but it does have adult themes to it. And that is, at least in my opinion, as adults who play video games, that is an upgrade for this franchise. So I don't want to go into too much more detail. I'll just say this, that like, there's a huge revelation that happens in the plot that kind of sends the game off in this direction that you won't see coming playing through these early sections of the game. So I am very impressed with the plot in this, also completely hooked on it, and I care about pretty much all the major players. I want to know what happens. I want to know about the mom, and it's pretty well paced. It gets a little slow here and there. Almost sometimes the game gets in the way of making the plot flow. Because the one thing I'll say about this game, Matt, is that some of these battles can last forever. Forever.
I'm not sure if I'm missing something in the combat system because of how long some of the fights last.
Even with like the little rank and file guys, they just drag on sometimes.
That's what I mean, is like I feel like I'm missing something that these battles should be happening faster and I'm not doing something right.
I thought that too, Matt. I'm like 20 hours into the game and I still have not discovered the magic bullet that should speed up the battles.
One thing I don't, so there's a rock paper scissors element to it where you're like, if they're targeting, if the monster's targeting you have like, was it speed, power, and technique? Technical. Like you can pick what. There's a rock paper scissors thing where one beats the other and the other beats. So when they're targeting, you have to pick the one that's going to beat them or draw. You can tie
or
them
draw.
Like right there. What happened there? Is there a way to tell what they're about to do? Because it seems almost random. Like in the other ones, there was a system kind of like that. But like
they did the same thing every time.
But yeah, each enemy was like, oh, it had this. It was color coded, and like this one, like even the like at first I thought like the beam that pointed to you from the monster was like color coded to what they were gonna do. That's not true. Are you just guessing, or do you have to memorize like everybody's?
Here's the thing: they switch. Like they don't do. The first two games did do that. Once a monster showed you what kind of type it was going to use, it kept using it. In this one, it switches it up. So I haven't figured it out either, Matt. Any sure way to know? And I mean, to be honest, you shouldn't be able to know every time because that would make the game a joke, basically.
Yeah.
And it was.
Well,
the prior two games, like after a while, it all broke down.
But also, like that only matters when they're targeting you,
right?
Because you can control your Rothlos, but the other characters you're with do their own things.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it's not like it's hard. Like the other characters do a good job of keeping you alive, and it's actually very hard to fully wipe out.
It is, yeah. Because you basically have 3 lives in this, where you didn't have lives in the prior games, but the other games were easier.
yeah. Like basically, if any of your characters fall a total of 3 times, you lose the battle.
Yeah.
But you can there are characters that have abilities that can also restore those lives in the middle of the battle. So it's very unusual, I think.
Well, one thing that I talked about,
you would actually fully wipe out.
Yeah. One thing I talked about when we talked about it a few weeks ago on the show was how the enemies, like, they don't tell you. But what I found, Matt, is if you hit R2, it does go to a screen that really gives you tons of detail on the enemies. And it'll tell you, like, what they're weak to. Because what I found...
Yeah, I saw that, but I couldn't find anything in there that would, like, reliably tell me what type of attack they were going to use.
Yeah, it doesn't give you that. But it does give you their alignment and stuff like that. So you know that, hey, if I use an electrical attack, it's probably going to knock them down. Because what I found with this game, the key to succeeding in combat is staggering and knocking enemies down or incapacitating them.
Yeah,
so
well, just like every RPG in the last 15 years.
Like I got a spider.
This takes a lot of cues from Persona.
It does,
which is not bad.
Or Pokemon.
Steal from the but the stagger everyone and then you hit the button and everybody beats up on the guy as like a finisher. Like that's Persona.
It is, yeah.
Persona 3 started that.
Yep.
So,
but this you have like 6 at a time. You have 6 Monsties, 6 Pokemon at a time in your roster. And one thing I will say too is there are points in this game where you get stuck and you don't have a chance to get to some place and change your party. So, for example, this leads in perfectly to what I was saying before. So you hit R2 and you look at the alignment of the monster and you learn what can like mess with like, well, we'll knock him down or what won't knock him down or whatever. And that is very helpful. There's no doubt about it. But again, you don't really have the rock, paper, scissors part of it, which I think is good, Matt. I think it would just make the game too easy if they didn't mix it up enough, honestly. So I think they made some changes to the battle system, and most of them have worked out for the good, except for the fact that it takes forever to beat bosses. And what I've discovered is that it's all about incapacitating them or knocking them down. Like I said, I had that spider that I hatched an egg. It was level 1. All my other Monsties were like level 15, level 20 or whatever, but it had an attack that would put the enemies to sleep. And I ended up using that spider through like an entire 2-hour section of the game just to put the enemies to sleep. So they would lose a turn and I could just do damage on them while they're asleep or whatever. That Monstie was not very powerful, but he had that one attack that put that other Monstie to sleep. And that's what matters. And so again, going back to what I was saying earlier, hitting R2 and looking at all those alignments for the monsters that you fight makes a huge difference, and you really need to follow that, or you're going to end up in boss fights that drag on forever.
They still drag out. Like the boss fights, even in the demo, like you got to stagger them like 3 times to do enough damage to like... That's why I was wondering if I'm doing something wrong or I'm underpowered. I don't feel like I'm underpowered. I've spent everything I can on upgrading stuff.
That's the way the game is. And the worst part about it, Matt, is you get further into the game, you start getting into boss fights that are multi-stage, where you'll fight 2 bosses. Like, you'll fight one boss that's hard to beat, and the first time you beat him, you're like, yes! And then another boss comes out, and you're like, are you freaking kidding me? And if you lose to that second boss, you have to fight the whole sequence over. And so there's definitely times where I've burned.
Here I would have thought, like, they got red arrows, so I would have thought they're using strength.
Right.
But that's not
true. Because if you look up there, it does color code.
Yeah.
Like, red is strength, blue is speed,
That's
technical
what I
green.
thought it was, but that's
not
true.
No, it's not
And
true.
then sometimes the line is yellow, and it's just nothing.
But you're right, Matt. Like, I think most people would probably look at that and be like, what's that trying to tell me? What's the read here? And
because it changes color.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to actually correspond to the type of move they're using.
Yeah. I mean, this game is a lot. There's no doubt about it. And
it's just systems on systems like every RPG is now.
And like there's one system, if you look at the bottom of the screen there's those 2 gems. If you keep using the same Monstie, that gem builds up. And once it's full, you can then mount your Monstie. And you can do this crazy team-up attack with somebody else in your party. And when I first played it, I was having problems. I was like, wait a minute, like, you have to rely on the CPU to mount their Monstie at the same time as you. And what I've found now that I've played it a lot more is they thought of that. And CPU will mount their Monstie and just not use an attack until you mount yours. So they'll get on theirs, and they'll just keep fighting as normal until you mount yours, then you do the team-up attack. So they have figured that out, and they will wait for you for when you're ready to do the big team-up attack and deal the damage. So they've done a pretty good job. I do agree with you, Matt, that a little bit, it does feel like a lot of this is out of your control in some ways, but I do think the CPU is pretty smart.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Like, it will figure out what the weakness is on its own, too. And if, like, a Monstie is weak to fire, it will start piling on the fireballs.
I mean, they're smarter than a lot of Persona
like
party members.
Yeah.
Like, because this the closest comparison to this is Persona. Because of you've got your party, you only control your guy and your monster,
and your Monstie,
which is equivalent of your personas. And there's all this status stuff and all the versus this week to this and heroic scissors and and trying to stagger things. I mean, it's Persona.
Yeah,
very much Persona. There's no random battles. You can hit things to get an advantage when you start the battle. It's Persona.
Yeah, that's pretty
Monster Hunter Persona.
Yeah.
So and very story driven, very long. So if that sounds good to you, here you go. It's Persona Monster Hunter.
Yeah. A big part of the strategy in this game is making sure that you have a well-rounded party. You do not want two Monsties in your party that do the same thing. You need to make sure that you have electrical attacks, fire attacks, all of it. Because you never know what alignment a monster is going to have. So
over-specialize and you breed in weakness.
I mean, that's the other part, too.
As Major Motoko Kusanagi would say.
That's the other thing I've discovered, having continued to play this game, is the whole Monstie breeding thing is freaking insane. It goes crazy. Eventually, you get this weird, like, mini game that you play to breed Monsties where it's like tic-tac-toe. They give you a 3x3 grid, and you have to, like, line up the genes from other... So you can, like, steal genes from other Monsties, put them in the pool, and then apply those genes to another Monstie. And if you win tic-tac-toe while doing that, it gives you a boost. This game is just...
just like in real life.
Seriously. But this game just keeps going and going into the deep end. But I feel it, for the most part, it does do a good job of slowly training the player up and teaching you what you need to learn to be good at the game.
Yeah, if you're sticking with this, you'll pick it. It introduces it as a reasonable pace that you'll pick it all up.
Yep.
It's just one of those games where if you put it down and come back 6 months later, good luck.
Yeah.
You're gonna have forgotten a lot of the nuance.
That's true. That whole system is called Rite of Channeling, where you borrow the genes from one to another and then build like this brand new creature.
Oh, right,
it's crazy.
yeah. Because the first time you hatch monsters, they say, like, let's do that later. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Or they tell you to set them free.
Yeah.
Because that's the other angle of this is like, if you get duplicate Monsties, you want to set one of them free back into the wild because then they go and have sex and they repopulate and give you better versions of that monster.
Right, but like the girl there, when you first hatch a monster back at the base, she's like, it's like, and now we do the rite of channeling, right? And your character's like, yeah, but let's go have lunch for. We'll do that later. It's like, yeah, we're not ready for that system
You
yet.
haven't got there in the tutorial yet, lady.
The tutorial's still unfolding.
Shut it
Just
up.
chill out. Just summon your pigs and shut up.
Now, Matt, one thing I will say is that the developers of this game definitely realized that the battles start dragging on, because at a certain point in this game, you get to the point where you can click both sticks and just finish the fight. So if you fight against like rank and file enemies, you don't even have to do the fight. It goes to the fight screen, you click both sticks, and it just gives you.
Yeah. Again, Persona.
Yeah.
The let go.
Unfortunately, that does not happen with the mini bosses or the bosses in this. You just have to fight it
I
out.
imagine you're stuck with that one way or the other.
And I mean, the bosses in this, it just takes forever to chip them down. And there's nothing worse than going through 2 boss phases, dying, and having to start at the first phase again. Like, that to me is a crusher. Like, there need to, in my opinion, I think there should probably be mid-boss checkpoints to alleviate that. I almost quit, I'll be honest with you. I had one boss fight that I had fought for like 40 minutes, and I lost. And I just started all over. I almost quit. I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. But anyway, they do eventually figure out that most players are just going to want to auto-finish those very simple battles against the lower-ranked enemies, and that's very appreciated. Can you do that in Persona, where you just automatically just win it?
Yeah, I said.
Yeah.
It's basically the let go option.
Oh, right. Right. And you can run away in this, too, if you want to. And believe me, there are certain times where you will run into some enemies out in the wild where you're going to want to run away from them. Now that I've played this, I can definitely tell you it is not open world. Without a doubt, it is not open world. There is an area that is open-ish around your castle where you start, and it makes it feel like the game is open world. You can hop on your Monstie and fly using like the air up drafts, like in Pilot Wings or whatever. And you can go on the ground. You can run wherever you want, and there's missions everywhere. I think the quest system in this is great. Like, once you accept a quest, it's very easy to go into the menus and say, where do I need to go to solve this? And it's not always obvious. They'll sometimes just give you to the general area you need to go. So I feel like the questing system in this, it does a good job of keeping you on point, on task, and not wasting too much time in that way. So I feel like they did a pretty good job, but again, it gives you the illusion of an open world when really it's just kind of that area around where you start out. Once you get into the bulk of the game, it's again like God of War, like open world-ish, where it gives you the illusion of it, but when you really start going to the edges of the world, it's not open world at all. But I think for the purposes of this game, it works completely fine. What else? Everything is slow in this. I don't know if you figured it out yet. Have you got a new weapon yet, Matt?
I mean, I got the... I bought a new weapon. I bought like the two-handed sword, and I ended up with like a big hammer, but I didn't like it.
So it takes forever.
It's all the same weapons as Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it is. And it's the same theory, too, where after you beat the big boss, you should get enough parts from that boss to create armor from that boss. However, what I found is you're always one piece short. They give you all the stuff you need except for one piece of that armor set that apparently you're going to have to go out and fight that enemy again somewhere to get it. I don't know. Bottom line is, it takes forever to get new weapons in this game. Or even upgrade weapons. It's like you always have everything except for one thing.
Although I will say the upgrades are substantial.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you notice it right away. And like the power going from one sword to the next, it's not like a 5-point increase. It's like a 20-point increase. And as soon as you get it, you do feel the difference for sure, without a doubt. But it's very slow. Same with armor. Like, I used the original armor set for the first like 5 or 6 hours of the game before I got second armor. And then once I got the second armor, you get in this position where you're like, oh, do I want to upgrade this or do I want to buy the new one? And
I instantly was in new armor when they first came because I had the pieces from the bugs to make like an insect suit, and then like a couple more quests later, I had enough pieces to make a mech suit.
Oh,
like I'm literally in like a Tron mech suit.
Really?
In the demo.
I must have missed something then.
I crafted it. I crafted it out of pieces.
I mean, I went to the crafting place. I could not find stuff that I had the stuff to craft.
Yeah, you know me. I did all the side stuff. And I probably was killing stuff that you weren't.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Poking into crannies for. Yep. But no, she's in like a full it's like a suit of armor, but it looks kind of mech styled.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything special, but it's just actually I think it's actually a little less protective than the bug suit, but it looks cooler, so I switched to it.
But this is why it's great to have two people discussing a game, because one person's experience isn't always going to be the same for the other person. So
I still get knocked over by the damn acid spit. It doesn't matter.
Everybody, I think that's going to happen no matter what. Yeah. So yeah, it's I think what's really drawing me through this game more than anything, honestly, Matt, is the plot. Like the plot in this game is really, really good and intriguing and different. Now, I'm sure there's some fantasy film or TV show that has a similar plot or whatever, but I can't think of too many video games that share the same plot as this.
I mean, it does kind of tie heavily into the Monster Hunter premise of like, you know, the monsters being around and being part of this like mythology. I mean, it reminds me of Fire Emblem or a little bit of Pokemon in the sense that everybody's obsessed with monsters as like a society sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, at least it's doing something interesting with it as opposed to what the main series does, which is just like, we found a new place, let's go kill all the things that live there. Kind of thing. Like, and I think there's some Game of Thrones influence here.
There is,
like,
for sure.
There's a lot of inter-kingdom politics and stuff.
Yeah. What I really like about it is the group that you're a part of, the Rangers. They are non-violent, and they're not used to fighting wars. And that's another sort of angle of this story that I really like, is how this group of people who are basically scientists and exist to study natural whatever, are forced to be into combat. And that sort of internal struggle is explored throughout the entirety of the game.
I mean, that is kind of like that is a JRPG trope.
It's a trope.
That is the peaceful warrior thing.
The people who don't want to fight.
I don't want to fight, that's why I carry a sword as big as I am, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah. But I appreciate that plot line because everybody's different too in your party. You have like the grizzled old guy who actually has been through wars and stuff, and he doesn't care. But then you have the younger people who are like, I've never fought for anything, I don't want to fight. And so it definitely gives a different angle to this game, particularly if you've played the first two games in the franchise, where nothing serious like that was ever really a part of the plot. So I definitely appreciate the aging up of the pros in this third entry. And
the other two are kind of more of a we're on an adventure.
Let's get the monsties.
Let's go catch them all kind of.
Yeah.
But this has more of a, again, it's a little more grown up. Almost feels like it's almost like a midpoint between like, you know, sort of the lighter JRPG stuff and like Metaphor Fantasio.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of sort of like this little in between thing. If that was a little too heavy for you, this has a lot of the same ideas, a lot of the same gameplay system ideas, but isn't quite as existentially focused.
Yeah.
So I think it's good.
The other thing you're seeing here is another part of the game called feral monsties. So you see those blue spikes all over them. That is the plague that's taking over the land, and it's also starting to take over some of the creatures in the game. And when you fight a feral monster, your strategy has to change because
that was also one of the two-part boss fights you were talking about.
That's one of them, yeah.
The first one.
If you attack these parts of their body that has the corruption on it, they do these retaliation attacks that literally will just wipe out your entire health bar.
Yeah. But if you can break those parts, they do the
attack.
They're very hampered.
It's dicey trying to get those things broken before they build up the power to do the counterattack, because literally the counterattack is basically an instant kill. So it is this seesaw give and take system in the combat where you're like, man, honestly, towards the end of what I've been playing, I have not been attacking the crystals. I've been attacking the other parts of the body.
For the most part. Like, you're gonna get them anyway. So
yeah,
it's really just like preying on your impatience.
Because the thing about this, Matt, and you've probably noticed this too, like getting health in this is very hard. Like you have to buy it basically with gold or whatever. In the early going, you don't have enough gold to really spend on the health. And so you end up relying on like stuff that you pick up, or if someone in your party has spells. But like even the health spells like give you like 30 health or whatever. Like it doesn't even like save you from one attack.
You gotta craft potions. That's basically what it is.
Yep, you really do. It's easy to die in this game. Like one attack from an enemy, if you aren't prepared correctly or you aren't paying attention, can wipe you out. And if you're in one of those boss fights, it takes 30 or 40 minutes and you make a costly mistake, boy, it really does burn you. So again, I would not recommend this game if you're thinking about buying this for like your 5 to 10 year old and thinking you'll play along with them. I think this game is probably a little bit too much for that age group, but I think anyone 10 or over, 10 to 13, as long as you're sitting alongside them to help them here and there, they'll probably be fine. 13 and over, they're going to rip through this game no problem. So it definitely has aged this up. I think it's the right decision. Do you, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
Because one thing, Capcom really doesn't have like any franchises for younger players, really. I guess Mega Man might be one at this point.
Sort of, but they don't really make any of those anymore.
Right.
So collections, I guess.
Capcom is kind of creating a hole in its software lineup by aging this up, but is it a hole? Are kids really buying Capcom games anyway? Probably not. So
yeah,
it's done the calculations.
But it does fill a hole in their roster, basically.
Yeah.
This is their kind of JRPG series since they refused to make another Breath of Fire game.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could argue this sort of is a Breath of Fire game.
A little bit. It gives me those vibes for sure.
A little bit.
Yeah. So the more I've played Monster Hunter Stories 3, the more I have liked it.
And as
I like the demo.
Silk Snake noted, the 12-year-olds are playing Resident Evil Requiem. So
are they? Well, like I said,
yeah.
12, 13,
Yeah.
sure. They can play pretty much anything. And if you're a responsible parent, I think kids 13 can handle violence and gore like that as long as you've talked to your kid about that kind of stuff. But sadly, a lot of parents don't.
I saw Alien pretty young. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. I mean, my parents let me do whatever I wanted. I watched Faces of Death when I was like 7. My parents did not care.
Not much of a story to that one, really.
No, but I remember Faces of Death was a thing when I was young.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Come over and watch Faces of Death. Real people die in it. And it really was all fake. It really wasn't really people dying. Anyway, I don't know how I got on Faces of Death from Monster Hunter.
Well, it was like those things they used to show us in like traffic school, like driver's ed, where it was just like videos of like
horrible
car
accidents
and stuff, and it's just like, what is this supposed to teach me?
Yeah.
Like humans are terrible at thinking that is going to happen to them.
Yeah. Yep. Let's check in with y'all in chat for the first time in today's episode. Andre Baptista 8284, greetings from Portugal. What's up, Andre? How's it going in Portugal? Ian McGar says it's Clannad. I think I said that though, didn't I?
Maybe.
I think I called it Clannad.
Maybe I didn't.
Oh, okay. Congram 1, DLSS 5 turns it into Breath of Fire. That's pretty funny. Silk Snake says, I played GTA 3 when I was 11. I remember when GTA 3 came out, and I was like offended by it. I was like, this is the end of the world. I'm like, I can't believe people want to kill each other like this in video games.
But they couldn't. It was one player.
Yeah. And Pactor said that he estimated they would sell 300,000 units. He said it was his biggest missed call of his entire career.
I feel like I'm the only one who knew that game was going to be the biggest thing ever.
I mean, I could tell. I think what bothered me was I knew it was going to be gigantic.
Yeah.
And it bothered me that this piece of content was going to be the thing that hit it big instead of something that was just a great game that was well designed and had great gameplay. For me, it was the culmination of content taking over the quality of game development, I guess. Is the way I looked at it. Not that the game was bad from a craftsmanship perspective.
I mean, it wasn't great.
It was rough around the edges.
It was good until you got out of the car.
Right. And it's, to me, I could see the sifting sands, I guess, when I saw that game.
Yeah.
And I didn't like where they were going, I guess.
Well, the good news is it didn't really go anywhere like that.
Yeah, really, they were the only ones who ended up doing it.
A handful of people did try to replicate it, but, you know.
I wouldn't even say mixed results, but they're all pretty much terrible results.
Well, you didn't like...
oh, he's saying it's Clanod instead of Clonod. I see.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ian McGar. I'll say it again in 12 years, and I'll try to remember the right way to say it. I can't believe I pulled that out of my brain, that band at all.
We didn't
honestly.
get it in. We didn't even, I don't think you were on extended play yet, because otherwise we both would have been complaining about it.
Yeah.
But Annalisa didn't want to put it on the show because it was too violent and too controversial. So I had to go down to the mall in Colma and get a copy from Electronics Boutique because we weren't getting. So I went at lunch. I went down and picked it up and brought it back and started playing it in the game lab. And slowly, everyone in the building sort of filtered in to watch this thing I was playing because it was like, no one ever seen anything like it. Like.
That's how I knew it was going to be gigantic.
Because I had liked GTA before, but it was unplayable because it was a top-down. You can't see the you can't see the fucking
tame.
cars you're going to drive into. And so moving it into 3D was obvious. So and then I think we finally reviewed the PC version 2 years later. When we'd become X-Play.
Well, also when perception had changed among people of what's acceptable in a video game.
Well, I remember on extended play. I remember we weren't allowed to shoot people on screen.
Oh, right.
Remember we had to put God mode on and pretend we couldn't aim.
It was like the Switch 2 trailer for Resident Evil Requiem.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
And now I remember when they came to us about doing X-Play, you and I immediately do we get to kill people on screen? Do we shoot people in first-person shooters? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? We're like, we're in. We don't have to record footage looking like idiots anymore. In.
Yep. Stucky says, if you squint hard enough, it's Breath of Fire. Yeah. Coltane44 says RE9 sold mostly to people over 30 and nothing wrong with that. No, absolutely not. I mean, I want there to be games for everybody. I want everybody to enjoy playing games, for sure.
The movie industry has learned and the TV has got to learn that you serve every audience and there's money to be made everywhere. I mean, the biggest show on television for years was Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever saw a single human being talk about that on the internet because everyone watching it was over 60.
Yeah. It's true.
But it was the biggest show in the world.
Yeah.
Remember, the biggest show in the world when we were, in the 90s was Baywatch.
Right. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Hey, 5226, thanks for stopping by, man. Have a good one. AJ the Legend Watson over on Twitch says, is this a good game to play on the Switch 2 for on-the-go gaming or better played on a more powerful system? It's a great Switch 2 game.
I don't think there's anything in this the Switch 2 wouldn't handle.
No, it's not even necessarily about... It's not going to look as good as the other versions, but it's a turn-based RPG, and those are always perfect for handhelds.
The only thing
you can just pause it and let it sit there.
Well, the only thing I'd worry about is maybe draw distance in the large areas and things.
There's VOD issues in even the PlayStation 5 version of this. If you get on your Monstie and you run kind of fast, you can start seeing trees drawing in and stuff. So even the PS5
all the
version,
grass detail and everything. I mean, even on PC. It's like that.
Oh, really? It is?
It's just, but,
It is. It's the engine, that's all.
Nobody renders things infinite.
No.
You can't do that.
Yep. So I would say if you're interested in playing it on the go, get the Switch 2 version. It'll look fine. Yeah. It'll look fine, and if you want to play it on the go, that's your only option. Unless you get the PC version, play it on a Steam Deck, that would work too. See if we have any other questions. Ashes in the Hourglass. Funny that those are no longer for kids, but they still call them Monsties. Yeah, I think it's too late. I don't think they're ever gonna...
That's pretty much the only defining thing about the series at this point is that stupid word and the turn-based combat.
Yeah, I think it's too late. They'll never get rid of it. They're going to be called Monsties until the day I'm dead. That's pretty much the way it is.
It just sounds like something you get out of an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
Like a little Rathalos with bubblegum eyes.
Yeah. Cinetite says, I'm definitely in favor of tight 20-hour experiences, but I also play Persona 5 Royal. This game is gigantic. I'm 20 hours into it. My guess is I'm not even halfway. Not even close.
It is a 100-hour game easy.
It's a big boy. I can just tell by the plot that I am nowhere near the end. And again, I put in 20 hours already.
Yeah, they don't give you a 10-hour demo for something if it's a 20-hour game.
Yep, it is a big dog. So you definitely, if you like JRPGs, you like what we're saying here on the show about it, like you're going to get your money's worth. Do not regret or do not think twice about picking it up.
Although, again, I feel like it would have been better served coming out in a couple months when like the things were a little more dead.
Ash has also asked, because I think he's in reference to me talking about how long the battles take. He's asking, is this because the animations in combat are too long? That is part of it, but you can skip those.
Yeah.
So any attack that isn't just a basic whack or whatever, you can hold the start button and you can just skip through the whole animation.
Although the basic attacks also take a while.
Some of them do.
Like sometimes you get like a bunch of enemies doing that acid spit thing. You have to watch every one of your characters flip backwards very dramatically, and so it's like, guys, can we just get hit and show me the number and let's get on with it.
So that is part of it, but they do let you truncate it a little bit by allowing you to skip the cinematics for the big attacks. And to be fair, some of those team-up attacks take like 2 minutes.
On for a while. Yeah, there's some Knights of the Round shit going on there.
For sure. So that's a good insight there, Ashes, for sure. Justin Horman says, I hated the parts when I didn't have the Requiem. Oh,
about Resident
Evil. Yeah. That's good. You guys are finally playing Resident Evil Requiem now? Nobody was talking about it when we actually covered it. And in fact, Matt, that episode on Sifted, for whatever reason, did hardly any comments. It was like the lowest commented episode of GameFace on Sifted, maybe ever. I'm just like, it's the biggest game of the year that's released so far. I don't know if people were just like on blackout or whatever. I'm going to play it. I don't want to learn or know it. I don't know. But I was shocked. Usually when we review big games on GameFace, those are the episodes that get lots of comments, dozens and dozens. That did not happen for Resident Evil Requiem, which I found very interesting. So anyway, let's scroll down. Maybe somebody asked some questions now that we started answering them. Cole Tane 44 talking about Crimson Desert. Silk Snake, 100 hours would take me like 6 months nowadays. Good Lord. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. If you work a job and if you have kids and you work a job, how long would it take you to play a 100-hour RPG? Like 2 years?
About that, probably.
It's crazy to think about. I mean, the good news is, honestly, most of our demographic that consumes our content, they're not really, their kids have moved out. They actually have lots of spare time now. Your kids are in college or whatever. They just want your money now. They don't want your attention. That's kind of the way it goes. But anyway, looks like that's it. Yeah, people saying I haven't played yet. All right. There you go. That is Monster Hunter Stories 3. That is definitely a thumbs up for me. I recommend buying it. I think it's the best RPG of 2026 so far.
What other RPGs are there?
Well, there was Neo 3, if you want to still call it that. Yeah.
I mean, action RPG. It's hard to compare an action hack and slash RPG to a turn-based thing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, this is the only turn-based RPG big one so far of the year. So it's definitely the best of those. But I went and looked very quickly. I just went to Sifted. Something you can only do on Sifted, by the way. Went to our reviews channel and then sorted the reviews channel by RPGs. And I could see every RPG that's come out in 2026. Again, things only Sifted does that nobody cares. It's so hilarious. It's like there's so much functionality on Sifted that nobody ever even touches. It's really sad. But anyway. All right, there you go. That's Monster Hunter Stories 3. Next up, we're going to talk about a game that was one of the biggest pleasant surprises that I've experienced probably in the last 12 months. And there were a couple pleasant surprises in last year's. Like when we did our awards last year, that was one of the harder ones for me to figure out, was like the biggest surprise or whatever. Because there were so many good games last year that I did not expect to be that good. This is another one. This is called John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. The best way I can describe it is it's Left 4 Dead by John Carpenter. Which means it actually has decent writing and a plot that's ham-fisted but still fun and interesting to keep up with. I would also say that this is probably the best Left 4 Dead clone. This is better than Back 4 Blood by a mile. And the big difference between this and Left 4 Dead and the other Left 4 Dead clones is there's not overt safe houses in this where you fight for like 10 minutes and you go to a safe house. Then you fight for 10 minutes, you go to a safe house. There are no safe houses in this, but there are areas that might as well be safe houses where they put a bunch of ammo and stuff, and you can restock, and you generally don't have to worry about enemies coming after you. But there's not the downtime that you get in Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood, where you literally, everybody goes into the safe house. You just sit there and wait for everybody to do their thing before you leave. Some of those games like make you all agree to leave the safe house at the same time or whatever. This game's not like that at all. The other thing I like about this game, and a pet peeve I have with games like this typically, is how people rush ahead and take all the loot. This game's that's not a problem. There's loot everywhere. There's enough loot for everybody in this game. So that's another thing that I typically hate about games like this, that this game does not have, and they kind of solve the problem. Now, the plot behind this game, and it is ham-fisted, and the other thing I would say too is that it can be hard to experience the plot in proper order, because you basically go to an interface, you say, hey, I want to play this mission, but if there aren't people there to match up with that mission, they'll match you up for one that you've already played. So sometimes you go back and play missions you've already played. It makes you forget what happens when you finally do play the third mission or whatever. And I think games like this, that's a common issue. That's one problem that they haven't solved in this. But the basic plot is that there's this guy who is doing these experiments for the military on this new type of energy. His name is Leon Dorsey.
Leon!
Seriously. And what's happened is his experiment has gone awry, and this horrible creature has escaped from the pits of hell, basically, and it's turned this entire area into what you're seeing now. It's all covered in this crazy sludge that's taken everything over. It's impacting the wildlife, and basically he calls you in on a job, the four of you, you and your three friends, to basically solve the problem. Take out all the infected that you're seeing right now, take out all the monsters, and then ultimately take out the big bad monster and return this area to safety. And that's pretty much the setup. Now, there's lots of back and forth. It's more comedic than horror, I guess is the way I would put it. There's just tons of one-liners. The four people are always kind of vibing off of each other, making crack comments about each other. One of my biggest criticisms, though, is that they could use a lot more of that, because the vocal samples tend to repeat pretty frequently, which, again, is pretty typical with games like this, but that is sort of one of my bigger issues with it. So yeah, your goal is to kill the bad beast that he's unleashed and then cure the infection and return this area to normal. So how it works is, while there aren't safe houses once you're out on a mission, after the mission is over, you go back to Leon's hub area. And back there's like places where you can adjust your loadout and level up your guns and add attachments to your guns and things like that. And you can also adjust the skill tree. Now there's 4 different characters in this, and you can choose the character that you want to play as. I don't know if I ever got it, because it doesn't freaking matter. All the characters are pretty much the same. What matters are the classes. There are 4 different classes that you can play as in this. And I'll be honest, half the time I didn't even know the character I was playing as in this, because it's a first-person shooter and you never see your character model, so you don't even know. But the 4 classes are the Strike class, which is your basic assault class. There's the Medic, which is self-explanatory. There's the Operator, which gives you turrets and drones and things like that. And then there's the Defender, and that character has shields and barricades. Each class has its own skill tree, and you level up each class on its own as you play. I didn't even realize this until later on in the game when it started getting more difficult, and I had to really start thinking about my classes and where I wanted to level stuff up. I hadn't realized that I had been playing the same class like the first 3 hours or whatever, and I had only leveled up the one class. So if you want to be good with drones, and I do, or turrets, and I do, you need to pay attention when you go back to Leon's and make sure you're leveling that stuff up along with all the other stuff. And I was able to catch up pretty quickly, because the later missions, you get a lot more skill points because they're more challenging. So ultimately, I was able to catch up and be able to use the Operator as I wanted to. But again, the classes in this are way more important than the actual character model that you're playing as in the game. Every character has their own kind of special, which is you have this supernatural power to shoot electricity, basically. What happens is you get here, and on your first mission, you get infected. And Leon, or whatever the hell his name is, installs like this collar around all your necks to keep you alive. But throughout the course of the game, it's almost like Leon in Resident Evil Requiem. You have this spider webbing thing that's coming up your neck. And so it's a race against time. You basically have a week to kill this big monster to hopefully save yourselves. And eventually, like, the collars go away, and he gives you some lame excuse about how it assimilated into your body or whatever. But anyway, so how it works is, after you complete a mission, you go back to Leon's base. You go through this, you mess with the skill trees, you mess with your loadout. go back to another terminal, and choose your mission. There are 9 different missions in the game. And once you've completed missions, you can then go and play them in any order you want to. However, you cannot choose a mission you haven't completed yet. So it's a little dicey choosing the missions that actually want to choose and play it so you can keep making progress through the game. But I'll say this, the community for this game is gigantic. Like, matchmaking is instantaneous. Like, it doesn't matter what you select, because the parameters you can choose to sort by are awesome. You can choose pretty much how difficult you want to make it. You can choose the map that you want to play on, all that kind of stuff. And so once you set all that stuff up and you choose it, you go into this interface and it matches you up, and it's just like lightning. You're matching up with people instantly. I also found that the people that are in these games are awesome. They all work together because you have to. Another thing that's different about this game from other games is vehicles are a big part of it. This is a game from Focus Home Interactive. Can you think of another franchise from them, Matt, that's kind of big?
No.
Mudrunner?
Oh, they do the
technical
super
driving
realistic technical
sims.
stuff? Okay.
And this game has that technology in it. So there's like 6 or 7 different vehicles in the game. You have to fill them up with gas constantly, so you're always looking for gas cans to fill up the cars. You play a little mini game to repair them once they get damaged or whatever. And then you can drive around pretty much anywhere in the world in the vehicles, which is a big change from games like this. So the vehicles become a big part of the game, and there's missions in this where you have to use the vehicles. One thing I will say, though, is if you get left behind by the vehicles in this, you are screwed. And basically how they fix that is there's this thing called like a sludge pod or whatever. You can die and you'll be downed, and you can stay down for a long time and they can come and heal you. If you stay down too long, you turn into this pod, and they transport the pod to close to where your teammates are, and they can come and revive you from the pod. Now, the only way that happens is if you found the pod throughout the course of the mission. And there's a little risk reward for that too. If you finish the mission with the pod, you get a huge multiplier on the points that you get for finishing the mission. But if you need it, you can use it as an extra life to revive yourself without even the use of your teammates. If you have the pod, you can just revive yourself once you get into that pod form, or they teleport you close to your teammates so they can easily come and revive you. So I never died in this and didn't complete a mission when my team completed the mission. Like, they always revived me, or I had the pod or whatever, and I was able to revive myself. I never got screwed where I played for 40 minutes, died, and never got to reap the rewards from the mission or whatever. So I think that design is pretty clever. And then this also has, in addition to the Mudrunner stuff with the mud, it also has the whole wenching mechanic in it, where you have a winch on the front of your vehicle, you shoot it ahead, you can pull doors down, you can pull debris out of the way. And again, they use that as kind of like a choke point through the game. Oh, here's this path, but you can't get past it because there's a bunch of debris in the way. You need to find a vehicle that has the winch, because not all vehicles have a winch. And that becomes your goal then as the team. Let's go find the vehicle with the winch. And once we find it, let's fill it up with gas. Let's repair it. Then let's drive over where we need it. And along the way, we're going to fight a bunch of enemies and run over, and we'll have to repair it when we get there. That's sort of the flow of the game, generally. And it's just fun driving around and just mowing down zombies with the cars. It's a fundamental joy that goes all the way back to Carmageddon. Back in the 90s. So I've had a blast with this game. I finished it. It took me... I never actually looked at the clock, but my guess is I probably played it for 6 hours. There's 9 missions, and they take 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how good you are and whether you die or whatever. And ultimately, it feels like I played 5 or 6 hours of it. So it was kind of a quick play, but there is some incentive to go back. Like, for example, I never got the operator out to full build, and I'm a big turret and drone guy and shooter, so if I would want to go back and kind of play that way, I totally can. Once you've unlocked all the missions, you can just choose whatever mission you want, and then you become like the savior. You show up into matches, and you're the only, and you just mop everything up, and everybody else is like, thank you, thank you, thank you, the whole time. It feels pretty good. But there is some incentive to go back and play again, but will I? Probably not. So this game is, I think it's $50, which is a little steep for something like this, but I was really impressed with the craftsmanship of this game. Never found any bugs or any issues or anything like that. Game runs great. Technology running the game is good. You could definitely sense John Carpenter in this, but mostly through the character dialogue. I don't know if he wrote anything, but the tone the way the characters interact with each other.
I think he like consulted on the character writing probably.
You can tell that it's got his vibes on it, but I wouldn't call it like a John Carpenter movie or anything like that.
No, I've seen him in Q&As and stuff recently. He's just doing what people want him to do. He's like, whatever.
If I can collect a check at this point for doing the stuff that I did for a long time, that's cool.
He was still like, it was a Q&A for The Thing at like the anniversary of The Thing, and he's like, I never would have thought I'd be sitting in front of a bunch of, huge audience 40 years later for this movie. Yeah. He's like, but it is probably the best thing I ever made. So he's like,
and I'll say this too, he's
very unimpressed with himself.
Yeah, he's always kind of been that way. I admire him for that.
Yeah. Is that little attitude of like, I don't know what's wrong with you people, but I'm not going to say no,
The last few missions in this game get insane. It is like 500 zombies coming at you, and they give you the stuff to have fun. Like, I use like these claymore mines through the entire game, and if you're standing like on a gangway or whatever looking down, and there's just like 300 zombies piling up at the base of the wall trying to climb up the wall, and you just drop that claymore down on them, it is so satisfying.
Oh, he did the score. That's
okay.
He did the music.
Okay.
That is what he actually likes the best.
And it is great. The score in this is actually great. I was going to bring that up, which I hardly ever do with games like this, but the score in this is really good. So anyway, it feels really good. Like, the guns feel great. Like, headshots, they just pop. And like, one thing I also like about this is there's so many times I played through this, Matt, where I saw this horde of zombies coming at me, and I'm just like, oh shit, I'm dead. And I fought my way out of it. Like, the auto aim assist in this is crazy, and it's good. Like, it needs to be that way, because it just lets you basically just, every time you pull that trigger, it just sights up a headshot. So it's like snap, 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 pop, 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 pop. You're just popping zombie heads all over the frickin' place. And like a horde of like 50 or 60 zombies coming at you, you can handle them in this game. And it feels really, really good. And after a while, you start to realize that. Because when in the early going, you're like, oh, my buddy's over here. He's about to get overwhelmed. You go over there. By the time you get there, he'd mopped them all up. And you're like, oh, he didn't need my help, actually. Then you start to figure it out. I actually don't need help either. And you start to realize that like one person in this game can handle a lot of heavy business. So I'll be honest. I think I like this more than Left 4 Dead, Matt. It should be better because it's 10 or 15 years later.
At least.
But like Back 4 Blood had that advantage, and I didn't find it to be really any better than Left 4 Dead. This game does things better than Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood. And I like the writing better. I think the plot does a better job of pushing the player forward. Yeah, I know people look at Left 4 Dead as this like untouchable thing. And look, it deserves praise because it was the first one to do it.
Left 4 Dead was 18 years ago.
Yeah. So if you haven't been able to improve on that formula in almost 2 decades, then what are you doing here? And they have. Like, this game is definitely better than Left 4 Dead. It's definitely better than Back 4 Blood. So as far as I'm concerned, this style of game, this is probably the best on the market. And it's kind of crazy that there aren't more, that more developers don't try to do it, because it's not that hard to make a game like this. It's really not.
I think it's just more that there's not a lot of market for it.
Yeah, that could be. Because you're right, Back 4 Blood sold okay. It didn't set the world on fire, though. But
it definitely didn't.
Yeah. But the Mud Runner stuff is cool.
Barely got anything started.
Yeah. The Mud Runner stuff in this is cool, though, because the mud is real, and your cars will get stuck in the mud, and they'll be stuck there for good, and you're just screwed. Like, sometimes you're in the car, you get stuck in the mud, and the zombies just start piling on the car, and you're just like, screw it. I got to get out and try to run away. As far as complaints about this game, obviously its length is a little suspect for the money that they're asking for it. The other thing I would say is the enemies are crazy repetitive. So I finished the game, and then I went back and started cutting the B-roll that you're seeing right now. And this is all from the first hour of the game. And I realized that all the enemies I had just fought at the end of the game were in the first hour of the game. Minus the bosses. Otherwise, all the rank and file enemies, you see them in the first hour, they're the same ones that you see until the end of the game. The other thing, too, about this is there's a bit of a yin and yang to it. So I mentioned earlier about how you have a super where you shoot like the electricity from your hands or whatever. Well, the way that you build that up is by killing enemies. So there's the seesaw of that, where the more enemies you kill, the faster your meter builds up, which allows you to fire off your electrical attacks, which is kind of cool. So there's systems built into the gameplay as well. But ultimately, these enemies you're seeing right now, you fight them for the whole 6 hours. They're just the same guys throughout the entirety of the game. Here you can see somebody reviving me. And again, the people that I played, I'll say in general, Matt, multiplayer games I've been playing lately, like the people have been awesome. Like playing with Marathon. The people I played Marathon with were awesome. People I played this with were awesome. I don't know what's going on. Everyone's turning over a new leaf and decided to be civilized. I don't know. But you can see here, like, you have to do stuff like we need to find the gas and put the gas in the generator, then start the generator, then starts this other thing, and you go over there and you flip the switch, and then that frees the truck that has the winch on it. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how this game works. So there's like a system, but it never really falls into a complete pattern either. Like, I never felt like I knew what was coming next in this, which is good. The boss fight's definitely the highlight for sure. I do feel like the boss fights probably could have been a little bit easier. Or a little bit harder, I'm sorry. Here you're seeing another thing. You don't just fight enemies in this. You also fight the sludge.
Feels like you could use a little wider FOV.
You think so?
Well, you keep getting blindsided by things you didn't see.
Yeah,
and it like feels like it was close enough that you should have seen at least a hand, like off one side.
I hear you.
Or something.
They give you so much leeway in this. Like, again, it's hard to die. You can get trapped sometimes in corners and get overwhelmed and die. Every once in a while, a boss will come up from behind you and like hit you from behind and kill you instantly or whatever, like a mini boss. But otherwise,
that man's ears are never going to work again.
But this is cool too. Like just riding, and this is a big part of the game, riding in the car with your teammates, and you can click the left stick and like hang out of the window of the vehicles. I found that to be one of the most effective tactics in this entire game because for whatever reason, if you're hanging out a window, the zombies don't know you're there. And so you can just sit there hanging out the window and just pick them all off. And they have no clue how to come over and attack you or whatever.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get a game together with sucking them toes.
Thank God he was there. And holding Tuddles. Anyway, these people had no idea they were going to be immortalized.
Does that say holding two dicks?
I think that's what it is.
That's supposed to be?
And these people were awesome, Matt. I ended up playing like through 3 missions with this crew of people. They were great. And
just a regular old basketball fan.
Yeah. But you can see how stuff just happens. Like we're driving and all of a sudden our entire car gets engulfed in flames. You got to get out or you die. It will keep you on your toes and it's fun. Like it mixes things up. You never know what's coming next. I mean, my biggest complaint is the enemy variety, the lacking enemy variety, and its overall short length. But otherwise, to me, this is probably about as good as this game design is going to be. There's the sludge seed I was talking about. So now that I have that, I basically have another life. So if I die, I turn into that pod, and I can just get myself out of the pod. So that's another thing that you do throughout each mission. You look for those, because there's 4 in the entire mission. So you want to make sure everybody on your team gets one, because again, if you don't use them, it gives you bonus points when you cash out at the end of the mission. So I had a blast with this. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. It came off out of nowhere. I mean, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, we definitely, they've been pushing this in a couple of presentation things.
Yeah, they've put out a couple trailers for it, so it hasn't been completely radio silent.
It was in
a big press conference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was also in because I didn't watch any of that, but I definitely have seen it in I don't know, maybe it was Summer Games Fest or something like that.
It was in like a presentation for sure. This is definitely right in the wheelhouse for Keeley.
Oh yeah,
this type of game is the exact type of game he gets into his stuff.
Should have closed it with this.
Seriously, it ended up being a better game than the one that they closed it with. That's the funny part. So there you saw very quickly, that was the seed I was talking about. You have to just sit there, but like your teammates get an alert and they all come over and help you like right away or whatever. So there you go. That's John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. It's available for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. I would very happily pay $30 for this. I would begrudgingly pay $40 for this. I would not pay $50 for it. That's the best way I would probably put it. But surprisingly good, surprisingly competent. I also like how they had the Focus Interactive synergy, where they brought in some tech from one of their other games and brought it into a game where it didn't seem like it made sense, and it ends up making perfect sense, and it's something that really kind of sets the game apart. Like the whole Mud Runner using the winch stuff, like there's no other game like it. So I had a blast with this game. But I'll say, I started playing it on Friday night. I played it for a few hours on Friday night. I got up at 7:30 on Saturday. I played it until almost noon, and I was done. So that's probably like 7-8 hours, I guess, ultimately. And I didn't have to replay too much stuff. There was a couple missions where we got pretty far and died and had to start over. But for the most part, the other thing I would say, too, about this, Matt, the further we got into the game, the easier it got.
The YouTube chat's saying it's actually $40.
Is it $40?
It's saying it's $40 on PS5 version is $40 on Amazon, and the PC version is as low as $34 on Green Man Gaming.
I'd pay that. Yep. That's right in the wheelhouse. So like I said, 40's a little bit of a tough sell. 30, buy it. No question. If you like these types of games. But the hordes in this are as good as any horde I've seen in any video game. Even from Sony banned. And what I like about this is you fight the horde all the time.
Yeah, you'll get there in less than 30 hours. Yeah.
You actually get to fight them in this. But you can see, look at how many are coming. But see, notice how many I'm taking out. Like, it's pretty crazy how many you can manage on your own in this game. And this is...
I don't know, they react to the bullets.
They do. Every single one of them.
It's not like Left 4 Dead where they just...
Ignore everything
until they fall down.
I mean, this game will surprise you sometimes, like with some of the stuff that it does. The gore is... The other thing I should mention is this game has been blacklisted. Just like Romeo is a Dead Man from Suda51, this game on YouTube has been blacklisted. So immediately, as soon as you upload anything with this game, they do an extra check on the footage. You upload it, and they're like, nope, you can't publish it. We want to check this before you put it up. They did the same thing with Romeo as a Dead Man. And the short that we did for this was basically blacklisted completely. It's running, but it's serving no ads, and they aren't distributing it out to, like, people. So it may be hard to find stuff about this because it's kind of getting censored all over the internet, because you can see why. It's just a big old gore fest. It's just blood.
It's not any different than anything else.
Well, it's also zombies. Like, you know, if it were real human beings, I get it. But these are freaking zombies. These aren't people.
Yeah, it's just demon zombies. It's just Doom, really.
It is. Yeah, so I was kind of surprised at that, but it is very violent and very gory. So you have problems with that. You know, I would not get this for the young ones.
It's not even like it's not even interesting gore though. It's just blood splatter because you're shooting. It's just demons.
It's not like there's jibs or anything. It's really just blood. It's really all it is. But anyway, they did blacklist this game, unfortunately, across YouTube. So I don't know. Maybe they'll. I don't know. They may take monetization away from this episode. Who knows? But I'm not going to censor the game.
It's weird to do that with this and not like Call of Duty.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you're killing people in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I agree. But Call of Duty spends a lot of money on advertising on YouTube, Matt.
True.
Silkshake says, YouTube is done. They took down my Resident Evil 9 tips and tricks speedrun video for violence towards women. And he also says it reminds me of the zombies mode in Fortnite. Well, it's also a little bit like the zombies mode in Black Ops 7, because Black Ops 7 kind of works the same way. It's you fight a bunch of zombies, then you get in a vehicle and drive to the next place where you fight zombies. So it's a little bit similar to this, but this is way more freeform. You have way more agency to go wherever you want, do whatever you want, fight whatever you want. The zombies mode in Black Ops 7 is definitely like, here's this area. You got to defend this area and wipe everybody out in this area and then move on. This is more open. You can kind of go wherever you want. I will say, too, pro tip, do not separate from the group. They tell you. As soon as you get 40 feet away from everybody, they're like, yo, you better catch up with everybody. Because if you're by yourself, you're done. Like, if you find one tough enemy, they'll hunt you down and kill you. So you definitely need to stick with the crew in this game, or otherwise you're going to have a tough time. So there you go. That's John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. Again, for PC, PS5, Xbox Series, $40. I'm okay buying it for that. If you can find it for $30 in 6 months, that's a great deal. You'll definitely get your money's worth. Let's check in with chat very quickly just to make sure there's no questions about this before we move on. I want to make sure we cover all the bases. Toxic Commando is $40. Yeah, thank you, Dennis, for getting us those prices, by the way, over on YouTube. Appreciate that. Let's check with Twitch. Is it better than the Killing Floor 3? It is, Nightwing 3060. I reviewed Killing Floor 3 not that long ago. It was very disappointing. That game was also flagged by YouTube, now that I think about it. Killing Floor 3, our short for that, also flagged and didn't run anywhere. But I like this way better than Killing Floor 3. Killing Floor 3, I think, was one of the most disappointing games of 2025. Like, it took them a long time to get that game out, and then it came out, there was nothing remarkable about it, nothing unique about it. It was just Killing Floor 3 with better graphics and some new enemies. This does push things forward and does try new things. If you're waffling between this game and Killing Floor 3, get Toxic Commando. No doubt in my mind at all. See if there's any other ones. Some people talk about Redfall.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that one, but I just tried to lock it out of my mind. For me, Redfall was too open. It was, you had too much ability to do what you want. Every time I played that game, I found myself like a mile away from everybody else, or nobody grouped up either. Like, everybody was like a mile apart from each other. It always felt like there was no cohesion in Redfall, and I think that was its downfall. Honestly, is that you never felt like you were a part of a team. I always felt like I was fighting
I think the downfall was a number of things.
Yeah,
as part of it.
But that was what kept me from going back and playing again and again. Was like, oh, nobody wants to play together in this, and it's.
Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, you want me to play together in this? No, I'm not going to do that.
That's funny.
Basically, Redfall managed to please nobody with what it was doing.
That's pretty accurate. Vincent says, so co-op Days Gone. Yeah, I think so. But again, the zombie hordes in this are way better than Days Gone. Way better than anything
also, it looks
Sunny
like,
Bended.
It looks like you can actually make your character do things in this,
yeah.
which is different from Days Gone, because what's his face? It was not the most...
anything.
Not the snappiest protagonist in the history of video games.
Yep. Fruit Eater, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Silkshake said this B-roll is not what I expected with a title like Toxic Commando. I thought it would be some retro side-scroller thing for some reason. Because it's a retro IP, probably. That would be my guess. Coltane44 says Back 4 Blood was the biggest letdown. It really was. Like, we waited a long time for that, and then ultimately it was not great. It was passable, but not great. John Carpenter, the fellow who makes the shelves that are sold in IKEA. That's funny.
I would imagine the guy who makes that would be a Swedish name, but...
Yeah. Red Fox 1980. Do you have a review code for Crimson Desert? I do not. I am trying to figure out who to contact for Crimson Desert. I have not had any contact come into my inbox that is representing that game. So I've been trying to track it down. I've had no luck so far. I'm trying, but we may just have to buy it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've already just pre-ordered it on Steam.
Yeah.
It's install, I think, this afternoon, pre-install.
Probably, yeah. Ashes is talking about Mugenics. We've had several people recommend that we cover that game on the show. We're probably gonna. I can't promise when it's gonna happen, but we're gonna tackle it. We're talking about Monster Hunter Stories. Okay. Liberal Hack jumps in there. For some reason, I get an error message whenever I try and do a super chat on YouTube. Interesting. Hopefully, that's not happening to everybody. That would really suck if we're not getting super chats because there's a glitch. That sucks. Prince Kev, we are talking about DLSS 5 later on in the show, so stick around. I think that's it. Zet Saber says, now replaces zombies with dinosaurs, and I'm in. Well,
it is weird that nobody does something like this with dinosaurs.
Yeah. The new Turok is what it is.
Yeah.
The new Turok is, I think, 3 or 4. I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 players, but it's cooperative shooter, which I hate to see Turok turn into that, but you're right. It's a great idea for a game. So
it's just weird that there's not some. I mean, there's like an indie little community of like dinosaur horror games and survival games on Steam and stuff, and some of them are pretty good. And then there's like a weird little niche of like hardcore dinosaur sim where you play as a dinosaur with permadeath in games like The Isle.
That's kind of cool.
Things like that.
Yeah.
And those are
all about
pretty
the
cool.
Food chain and stuff.
Yeah, like you have to like literally blend in, like like you have to blend in with trees and like you have to hide from like predators. If like and like there's only room for like one big T-Rex in an area, and so like but like you can't go near the water because like the one game added the giant crocodiles. So the crocodiles would come out and eat and like so you can't go anywhere near the river, and like but you still have to drink, so you have to like figure out how to get water. Like
it's insane that humans lived at all during that period of time.
Well,
I mean, they really didn't, but
we that was millions of years before us.
Well, they were forms of. They were cavemen, basically.
No, there were not.
Really? There were no upright walking?
None whatsoever.
During the dinosaurs
Never.
at all?
No.
I thought that there were.
Millions of years. There are not. Millions of years out removed.
Okay.
There were tiny little mammalian-like rat things, and that's what survived the extinction. And then about 60 million years later, there were
upright
hominids. We started to get the little, like Lucy, like the little standing upright savanna primates, basically.
That were basically birds. Like the first dinosaurs were like birds that had feathers. Like they weren't even like lizard skin.
No, those are later dinosaurs were birds. They became birds.
I thought the birds became the dinosaurs.
No, dinosaurs became
became the birds. Right.
Birds are dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah.
They are the same.
So the only
family.
thing left of dinosaurs.
You see a pigeon, that's a dinosaur.
I just watched that thing on Netflix.
We eat fried
last
dinosaur
week.
all the time.
Yeah. Also,
fried chicken is fried dinosaur.
It is, yeah. That also, remember how I told you I kept Netflix to watch that dinosaur thing? It was awful.
Watch the Apple TV one. Watch the prehistoric something.
I was like, I can't believe I spent $20 to watch this damn thing. I watched the first episode, half of the second one and then skipped to the last episode and barely made it through half of that.
Watch the Apple TV one.
I will. I just got Apple TV free because I just got finally a new
Prehistoric
phone.
Planet. Thank you, Justin. Watch the that one is done like Walking with Dinosaurs or like a Richard Attenborough documentary. That one's very good.
Yep.
It still makes up some weird shit. It makes up some weird shit that's like stuff we could never prove one way or the other. Like it gives some of the sauropods like inflatable air sacs on their necks. We don't know if they might have. That would have left no evidence on the fossils, so we don't know.
Yeah.
So you're kind of free to think that.
Fill in the blanks.
It is a theory that that sauropods may have had inflatable air bladders in them, like sort of like some fish.
Well, some birds still have
and
it.
some birds, to basically help with their weight.
Yeah.
To make them a little easier to.
Sometimes they make them look intimidating or mating rituals.
We know they might have had something like that to give them like more to basically offset their heavy weight. But there's no reason that couldn't have been used for those things too if they could protrude out the skin. Or I mean, these dinosaurs probably looked way weirder than we ever would imagine.
Can't even imagine. Yep.
It's like that drawing online of the T-Rex where it has like feathers that puff it out to look like a little sparrow. It's like a 20-foot tall sparrow.
Yeah.
Because like maybe
it could be.
We don't know.
You don't know.
Like, we don't know.
You really don't.
Like
you know what the bones look like. And
right.
That's pretty much it.
Well, because we have a tendency to vacuform the skin to the bones when we reconstruct these things.
That's true.
And like some guy is an artist who did a series of like if we reconstructed modern animals like that, and it's all like. Hippos are completely unrecognizable. Like if you do that with modern animals, they don't look anything like what you.
Which would lead you to believe we don't know what the dinosaurs look like.
Yeah. We do know, however, what I think 14, the color of 14 of them, because they left like mummified, skin imprints, and we know like this one was red with it. But they were probably much more brightly colored than we think they were.
Yeah. Yep. Noxatornitis, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's flipping awesome. Appreciate it. Noxatornitis also says every animal is bird or fish.
Well, there's no such thing as fish.
Yeah.
There's no scientific classification for something called a fish.
That's true.
There's nothing that basically we are fish, if it comes down to it, because there's no such thing as a scientific classification for fish or for trees. A tree is just a bush that is tall enough that we call it a tree. There is no scientific classification for a tree.
They're all the same. Yeah. Yep. All right. It's time to move on. We're going to talk next about what a lot of people are calling a Game of the Year contender for 2026. It's definitely, without a doubt, one of the biggest indie games to release so far this year, and that is Slay the Spire 2.
I'd say it's one of the biggest games, period,
it feels, sales-wise,
and player count,
on Steam, all of it. It is one of the biggest games
and it's just early access on one platform.
It's only available for PC right now. So you can't get it on consoles yet, and it's only available on early access on PC right now, but by most accounts, it feels like the game is pretty much done.
I mean, I'd say it feels as complete as, say, Hades 2 did when it hit early access. It's just fine-tuning at this point. I mean, normally I do prefer to hold off on early access till they're done, but I have a hard time believing you're going to notice a huge difference.
Yeah, I doubt they're going to tweak too much with this before it finally comes out as a final version. Now, I have not played this at all, and Matt, full disclosure, I did not play the original either. I am not a deck building guy, and any game, if I hear deck builder, I pretty much just turn away immediately.
What other games have you like with deck building?
Well, like just the deck games, like the Witcher one. Like I tried to play that. I lasted like Gwent. I played for like.
Okay, so that's not what a deck builder is.
No, I know. This is like a turn-based RPG where you use cards for your attacks.
Right, but that's not. You're thinking of deck construction. They're two different things.
Okay.
This is a lot easier than that.
It is.
Because you're thinking like Gwent and like Magic the Gathering, and that's where you have to build like a deck and then go in and fight with it.
Right.
That's not what deck building is.
Okay.
So this
Which,
is...
even though that's the exact words.
No, that's deck construction.
Okay.
Those are pre-constructed decks. Deck building happens during the game in a deck builder.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So what happens is, and this comes from board games. This actually comes from a game called Dominion. Was the first major deck builder.
This is based on Dominion?
No, but the game mechanic comes from a board game called Dominion, a card game called Dominion, which Jeremy Hoffman was very, 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 very into.
Oh, an old coworker of ours.
Yeah, he works at Epic now. Him and Casey Schreiner used to play Dominion every week.
I remember them talking about it.
Yeah. I play. Wasn't for me. Little. I like deck builders now, but that was a little too standard, generic medieval fantasy for me. However, so what a deck builder is, like imagine Gathering deck construction or a Yu-Gi-Oh thing or something like that, is before you play the game, you build a deck of preset cards to go in, and hopefully those all synergize, and that's what you fight with, right? It's how Gwent works. It's how a bunch of that stuff works. So a deck builder, you start with a very baseline set of starter cards, usually 10 to 12, and that is what you start with in this. I actually never played Slay the Spire 1 either.
Oh, okay.
Although there's a board game version of it now, which is almost exactly like... Because
full circle.
Slay the Spire 1 took a ton of stuff from board games, but they made a board game version, which is actually an almost perfect one-to-one translation of it. The board game community has gone crazy over it.
Because it is a board game in video game form. Yeah.
So now I would imagine part of the popularity of this new one is all the people who played the board game of the first one are coming to check this one out, too.
Yeah.
Not that community is gigantic, but it's enough to inflate some
Yeah.
things. But anyway,
Give some love.
so you start with some basic stuff. So you in this, you start with like four or five basic attack cards.
What's the setup for this?
Four or five
what's the
basic
reason for the season?
You're going up a spire to kill things.
That's all. It's just because there's like it isn't like there's an opening cinematic or anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's cinematics in this trailer, but like I didn't see any when I played the game. The characters certainly have bios, and like there's a little like backstory lore you find as you unlock stuff. But like basically, you are moving through these locations to defeat enemies and bosses, gain loot, and presumably get to the top of whatever the spire is.
You're just climbing a tower, basically.
Basically, like the map is set up like that. So I don't know if you're really climbing a literal tower in this one.
It's just the way it looks.
The first one, I think you were, but like from what I understand, it's very similar to the first one. But like it's a roguelike in that regard. Same thing. There's your map. You pick which direction to go, and when you die, you have to start over, but you tend to keep some stuff you unlocked, and just like a roguelite rather. So there's your basic strikes, your basic defense, and I think there's one like stronger, like I think it's like a bash card. So that costs a little more. You deal 8 damage instead of 6. So that's your starting deck. And so every time you win a fight, you will get a little gold. And you'll notice, like, you draw your 5 cards, and when they go to the discard, and when you can no longer draw enough to have a new hand, you reshuffle your discard and then draw from your newly shuffled deck, right?
Okay.
After you beat an enemy, you get a little gold, and you get to add a new card to your deck.
Permanently?
For this run.
Just this run?
Yeah, just this run. You start over every time you start a new run. So you can pick whichever... These are all random. There's a pool of cards they pull from, and you get to pick whichever one you want. And it will go into your deck, and... you'll see it goes into your deck up in the upper right corner. And so now that card might come up when you draw. And every time you win a fight, you get a new card like that. Every time you go to a store, you can buy new cards with the gold you find. You can also pay to what's called thin your deck, which means to remove usually your early starting cards that are not as good as the ones you've added. So you basically thin your deck so you're more likely to draw the cool stuff you've picked rather than the bad stuff, the mediocre stuff you started with. And that is what a deck builder is. The idea is that you are in board game ones. Usually, the cards tend to have money on them that you can then buy new cards from a market that's in front of everybody. In this, it's more like automatic. You're not but it's like so this game, that's essentially what happens. And so instead of playing in a usual deck builder, you'd play all your cards out, do what you're going to do. And in this, you basically use each card as a move for a turn-based attack. You can. And basically what you're doing is you're attacking with the strike stuff, and your defending will put defense, like a little shield on your character's life bar that's blue, and like that right there.
Yeah.
And when they attack you, you can block that many points of damage from the attack turn once you run out of your hand, because you have 3 energy to spend every turn, which can alter depending on the cards you get, the upgrades you get. You can have more energy per turn sometimes. But once you're
the number of actions you can take on your turn?
The amount of energy you can spend on the cards, which is the upper left corner.
Oh, I see the numbers on the cards. Gotcha.
Yeah, you'll notice the bash card, which is a little better, costs 2 energy.
Okay.
But then there's a bunch of like good cards. There's like cards where like they cost 3 energy, but the cost reduces for every other attack you play this turn. So you play 2 attacks, now it costs 1.
Gotcha.
There's one I got where you do 26 damage, but it costs 1. But after you play it, it becomes cost 0. So if you have other cards that can pull it out of your discard, it costs nothing to use it again.
This is one of those games where the first like couple hours I play it, every turn takes like 20 minutes. I'm like sitting there like, wait a minute, if I do this, it's gonna do that, which is gonna do this, which is gonna do that.
Oh, it's very simple.
Sounds like chess almost.
It's not. It's really because you get to pick what cards you put in, so it's pretty easy to keep track of what you're adding.
Okay.
So it's like that this card, that's the card I picked that does this thing. The thing that's hardest to kind of keep track of in this is how many status effects, all the status effects you're putting on the enemy, like vulnerable and weak.
Are there not visual cues?
There
for
are,
that?
but they like. I mean, again, you tell me what the difference between vulnerable, weak, and frail would be.
Yep.
Like once you see what they do, it is obvious what it is. But it's just like early on, you're like, okay, what does that mean? You know?
Yeah.
And there's a little like that little arrow above the beetle there indicates that when his turn comes up, he's going to hit you with a status effect, which he did. He shrank you, which is going to make you do less damage instead of it. So now you see the sword. It means they're going to attack you.
Okay.
So it gives you an idea of when you need to use
That's
block
very
cards
helpful. Yeah.
Versus when you need, and you go through and you fight. You can fight stronger enemies, or like little mini bosses you can run into. There are the question marks on the map are a chance of being a fight or a chance of being like a little like RPG encounter where you can make a choice and either get a good item or maybe sometimes you maybe get a really good item and lose some health or whatever. It's just a choice of what you want. And then at the top of each map, each act is a big boss, which maybe you're still have enough health. You're gonna also get to rest places. There are rest places.
So you have one health bar basically.
One health bar, and the rest.
Jeez.
The rest zones will give you. I think it's like 30% of your health back.
Okay.
Or you can upgrade a card. All the cards can be upgraded. So like up level 2, yeah, it does a little more of what it says it already does.
Yeah.
Basically. And these guys suck because they only take 1 damage on the first hit, no matter what.
Oh.
And I learned that the hard way.
Well, you want to use your crappy
So
attack.
you want to use a bad attack
Yeah.
first, exactly, or like an attack that hits everybody at once,
right?
Like something like that.
Yeah. What is it about this that makes it so popular?
And you fight the big boss at the top, and that's usually a very hard fight. But if you put the right cards in your deck, you will probably get through it. And then you get a lot of good loot for that. And then you have like the big monster that's sort of like you meet another monster that will usually give you a buff or a bonus thing at the beginning of the next act. And then you
like a permanent one or for that run?
Just for that run.
Yeah.
Everything's just for the run.
There's never anything permanent in this.
The only permanent stuff there are perks you unlock by doing certain things in a run. Usually it's playing a character for the first time or getting certain distance or accomplishing certain feats with things. And those will unlock perks and mutators. Mutators make it harder. Perks give you bonuses, and you get like bonus stuff for making it harder to mutator, and you obviously the perks you can equip a certain number, and that gives you some advantages there. And each character, you start only with the one knight guy, but you can unlock I think 4 more characters, and they all have different like innate abilities. Like he heals a certain amount after every fight, and then you've got like my favorite is the robot guy. Like the mecha.
How do you unlock the new characters?
Just by playing a run with the previous character.
Finish a run?
No, you just have to play a
it?
run.
Okay.
I think you just do a run with a character and it'll unlock the next one.
I see.
It's pretty fast. And then there are daily quests that unlock. You have to finish, I think, Act 3 and play a run with every character, and that'll unlock the daily quests. And there's a weekly, and I don't remember what the unlock. I haven't unlocked that yet.
Okay.
It is pretty tough to get past Act 3. Like it's you got to get lucky with the cards to some degree.
Why is this such a big deal?
Because it plays fast, it plays different every time, and you always feel like you're making some kind of progress.
Like a typical roguelite.
Typical roguelike, but it's like, it's hard to describe. I guess it's hard to describe. Like the cards feel good, and by the end of like an act, you feel like you have a pretty good engine going. Okay. And you're like I mean, I had cards that were doing 40 damage by the end of like Act 2 on one run last night, and I had one. So the robot can use like energy things, and like the one guy, the monarch, the regent, he has like these stars, like these like blue stars that can power things and power cards up, or you can play cards for stars instead of energy. So he's cheating. He's basically kind of using money to win. And so but I had a thing where it's like you do like 30 damage, and if you kill an enemy with the card, you get 5 stars. And then so basically if you can kill something, suddenly you're powered up with stars and you just unleash hell on whatever's left on the field. Things like that. Like the synergy of I had another one with the robot where the robot can channel spheres that like lightning and cold and glass and dark and fire, and like they basically cause damage of that type between your turns to the enemies. So if you can load that up and then find cards that give you bonuses for every type of orb you have, and then you can pull things out of discard for having discharged the orbs. And at one point I was just looping this free card that did 23 damage 5 times a turn, and it's great.
That'll do it.
Like you feel, and considering you start with like here's 4 cards that do 6 damage and 4 cards that block 5. that feels pretty good.
Yeah,
you know,
to build it to that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
and you're at the
So it's that accumulation effect.
right? And then you also have, if you look at the upper left there, you see those little icons right under. It's right under the Slay the Spire graphic. Now you can still see it. It's those the fire and the bird head and the gorget.
Yeah.
Those are like little bonuses you get just for the run, and the little gorget or gorget or whatever, however you pronounce it, that gives you automatic defense at the beginning of each battle. The bird indicates that you've had that bird and hatched it at a rest spot. And now sometimes a free card will pop into your hand that you can have it attack for like 14 damage, which is pretty good. But I had this little parasol, and the parasol,
Like an umbrella.
when you go to a merchant, you automatically get everything the merchant is selling for free.
Oh wow.
And I had like 40 or 50 cards by the end of
Wow.
Act 2, and it was just magical. It was incredible. So,
And that's what this game is about. That feeling of
feeling-
when you build it.
building the deck and feeling that you've got a synergy together that's really like functioning like a good
Yeah.
a good engine. That's basically what it is.
I'm surprised that
And it's
concept
got-
is so popular.
It's got huge one more try.
Yeah,
to
okay.
Because it's fast. It just happens. You play stuff fast. There's no downtime. Everything's very snappy.
So even I wouldn't just sit there like contemplating each move before I make.
if
the
you
move?
are, you're doing it wrong.
Interesting.
It just ain't that deep. When
Okay.
it comes down to it. Like the hardest decisions you should be making are which cards to take.
Okay.
And that should be pretty obvious. However you prefer.
as far as
to
it wants
play.
to keep, you mean?
Yeah, you want to. There are things that are like better or worse objectively, I suppose. But in general, for deck builders, you want to pick the stuff that is going to let you play the way you want to play. You want to do big damage, look for the big damage cards. You want to do big damage cards, and you want stuff that lets you pull those big damage cards back out from your discard after you've already played them. Some of the cards that let you do that let you play them for free after you pull them back out. So that's a big deal. There's other ones that let you play a random attack card from your draw pile for free after you play that card, and that's huge too, because if you're doing it early on, you have anything, and any of your cards could come out. Like, it's that kind of thing.
This game definitely has a unique look, and I don't know if it's because like when they made the first game, they didn't have a lot of money, and that's what it looked like, and now that's what this franchise looks like. But it definitely doesn't look like any other game, for sure.
You know what it is when you look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think some people may like the art style or may not like it, but the bottom line is it's hard to create a new art style in 2026 for video games, and this one definitely has it for sure. Sell me on this. Make me want to play it, Matt.
I mean, I don't know what else I can say.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm just surprised that so many people have latched onto it based upon sort of how you described it.
It is one of the most popular board game formats in existence.
Do you think there's a lot of crossover between people who are playing board games and people who pick this up?
I don't think there's that much, because I will say when the board game came out, a lot of board game people were like, what is this?
Oh.
Like, they were surprised to find out it was based on a video game.
Interesting.
So I don't think there was that much of it. I think more video game people know board games than board game people know video games.
Okay.
But video game people are obviously a much larger demographic.
Yeah, bigger group. Yeah.
And again, it's not adding deck building to roguelite is when you think about it, pretty obvious.
Yeah, it should be one of the
it's
first
weird
things
that-
you do.
It's weird, but the thing is, it's very hard to design a deck builder that's good. It feels good. There's tons and tons of deck builders out there in board gaming, and I can count the number that I have in my collection and want to keep on like one hand.
It feels like the consensus on this game is it's really freaking good, but it's also very similar to the first one. Do you think that's why? Because it's very hard to get that secret sauce and you don't want to mess with it too much?
I think that is some of it. I mean, I think because they already kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
And you really just want to refine it and make it more.
Yeah.
And that is seems to be pretty much what this is. And it is very, I mean, I have not played the first, I do own the first one, but I haven't played it.
Yeah. I probably own it too, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very cheap at times. Here's the boss you're going to fight. This guy, and again, one of the interesting things about this one, it is combining like stuff from like JRPG, like turn-based JRPGs. Watch this thing's tail. So you'll know it's slowly inching its way over to you. Like, so if you've ever played Final Fantasy VII, you know when that tail goes up, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
So when that thing moves over you, you want to boost your defense because it's going to do a huge amount of damage, and you don't get that health back. You know?
How many bosses are in the game?
No idea.
So how many times have you gone through the whole tower?
I've not gone through the whole tower.
I
said I've only gotten through Act 3.
Oh, okay.
I
So
don't know
you've gone through 3 towers basically and fought 3 bosses?
Yeah, I don't know how many acts there are.
Okay.
But also, you don't fight the same boss at the top of every tower.
Okay.
It rotates.
That's what I was getting at, basically.
I think there's at least 2 at the end of every act.
Okay.
Different one. It's random.
And how much is this?
I want to say it was like $15.
That sounds right. I mean, that's about what it should be, I think. 20 would be, I think, the max probably for.
I want to
like
say
this.
it's probably 20 when it comes out, full. I would imagine, but I think it was on. I think the early access was on. Okay, it's $24.99.
Ooh.
Full price, but I definitely did not pay that.
Yeah,
when
it's on a discount.
It was an early access discount, I think.
That's a little steep. It feels like. Would you be okay with somebody paying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have anything else like this unless you have the first one.
That's true. Rarity definitely improves the value of something for sure.
And it is
no matter what you're talking about.
It is. Again, I mean, I played a lot of deck builders in my time. I have there's games that use elements of it. There's games that are pure deck builders, like the Legendary games, which are excellent. There's an excellent Alien Legendary game based on the Alien movies. Transformers, G.I. Joe have them. It's a very common usage, and this is one of the best ones I've ever played.
Wow.
Video or cardboard.
Interesting.
It's very, very good.
Those are some big words coming from you, Matt. Because you've played a ton of board games.
Like this makes me want to buy the board game version of the first one.
Oh, wow.
Because it's so good.
Interesting. I'm surprised you don't have it.
I just didn't feel I needed it because I had the game, even though I never played it. And I'm like, well, the second game's coming out. Why would I play want the first game in board game form when the second game's about to come out? But now I kind of want the first one to play with other people.
Right. Yeah. So you'd recommend people at $25 pick this up?
Yeah, I think so.
What if you're someone like me who hasn't really resonated with games like this, but you really like turn-based RPGs?
I would argue you haven't played a game like this.
You're probably right. Yeah.
You haven't played a deck builder, I don't think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So again, I don't know, but I will say that everyone I've introduced to deck building in board games has liked it.
Okay.
Once they kind of grasped what it was. And there's different ways of implementing it that I think, like some people prefer it in Dune Imperium where it's just a facet of the game. There's other things you're doing that are not just that. Mm-hmm. Some people prefer one that's just that. I think this is a perfect blend of deck building and that familiar turn-based RPG combat that I think will help someone who's familiar with the turn-based RPG part get their head around how the deck building's supposed to work. I think that helps someone who maybe doesn't know how the deck building works to understand, okay, I wish I could do this. And then you find a card, it's like, oh, that card would do that if I could get it to work with this other, and it does work with the other card. You know, maybe I'll upgrade that card and it'll cost less energy and then I can use that better. And that's sort of how you that's how it gets you.
I see.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's sitting at like a 90 Metacritic right now. IGN reviewed it this morning, gave it a 90. So everyone seems to love it. People are definitely already talking about it like it is a Game of the Year contender. Not just indie Game of the Year, but like Game of the Year, period. Emperor Dread brings up a good point.
It does have co-op multiplayer.
Because it seems like a lot of people are talking about the co-op multiplayer more than the single player.
Yeah, because that's really the big upgrade.
Yeah.
That's probably what justifies the two.
Have you had a chance to try that out?
No.
No?
No.
Sounds like everybody loves it, though. Like, I've seen lots of people online
and
talking
Vincent
about
is correct. Belatro is a deck builder.
Yeah, I played that. Yeah. So you haven't played the multiplayer, because Nightwing's asking about it.
Mm-mm. I have not. I imagine it is just as good as everything else.
Okay. Was Belatro 25? I think it was cheaper, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I thought it was 20 or 15. Something like that.
I was going to say I don't think I would have bought it for that much, but because it was considered the new hotness, maybe I would have.
The Abrams says you can get like 500 hours out of it.
Yeah.
And Silkshake says $25 is nothing when you get 100 hours out of it. Yeah,
it's.
Vincent says it was 10% off on Steam when you got it, probably. Ethan says he paid $22, and AJ says it's $22 on Steam with the bundle. Okay, makes sense. Noxator says it's just fast, addictive, strategic without being complicated. That's why he says people really latch on to it.
That is true.
Ethan says it was one of the first early access successes. Say that 10 times fast.
Belatro,
the first Slay the Spire.
Belatro's price history seems to only go to 15.
That's what I thought. I thought it was $15. Yeah. And that was worth more than 15 ultimately. If you really connected with it, you got hundreds of hours out of Belatro as well. Lots of people talking strategy on here for Slay the Spire. AJ the Legend says you can get lost for hours playing Slay the Spire. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Vincent says it makes you feel smart for doing obvious stuff.
Yeah,
that's a great way to describe it, Vincent.
And Belatro was 20 when it came out on Switch, so I don't know.
Yep, 15 or 20 is about what I thought. Well, it sounds like a bunch of you guys are playing this already and enjoy it, which is great. It is Slay the Spire 2. It's available for PC right now. And Matt, you say pick it up, right?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, wait for early access to be done if you want. but I do feel like this is pretty finished.
Okay, awesome. All right, next up, we're going to discuss something. It seems like it should have been what headlined GameFace 472, because literally like 30 people in chat asked us if we were going to discuss this, and we are. We're going to discuss yesterday's reveal of NVIDIA's DLSS 5. Now, people may wonder what the hell DLSS is. I like to describe it as like witchcraft from NVIDIA. Basically, it's a way to make games look better with, well, I guess that's depending on your perspective. Make games look better without improving or having added hardware. It's an algorithm. They say AI, but it's really just like an algorithm or whatever.
I mean, that is what AI is.
Pretty much. I mean,
that's it's chat. I mean, it's chatbots with googly eyes pasted on it to make you think they have a personality, but really it is an algorithm with predictive, whatever. And in this case,
a lot of times it allows developers to improve frame rates without sacrificing the visual quality.
Yeah, the main usage of DLSS so far has been to basically frame prediction. Like it's
fills in the empty frame.
It takes what the game is and assumes that this frame is going to be dropped, so we'll just generate a frame to fill it in. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have an issue with like if games are like letterboxed, like it'll like. You'll see like the letterbox, like it'll have trouble like telling where to put the black lines and stuff. But in general, it's a decent way of faking a steady frame rate if you don't have another option. This is a different approach. Like so that's where they're showing that big frame rate boost from that. And it's not perfect. Like once you've played with it for a while, you can sort of tell when the frame rate boost is on. It doesn't quite look right. There's a lot of upscaling stuff for like, which is actually, that's probably the best usage of it for me is like the upscaling. So
you can play in 4K even though it's really 2K.
It helps a lot. I mean, certainly for something like Cyberpunk, it works very well. And it's gotten way better over time. So they've just refined it and it has gotten, but this is a different attempted usage and it feels like they are not quite done cooking it yet.
Yeah. So,
like, obviously, all the stuff they're showing there with the frame rate and resolution stuff, like, that's all
great. No one's going to complain about that.
And this is actually a really good idea. But somewhere in here, you have to apply something that tells the algorithm, please preserve the look, tone, and concept of what the original shot is supposed to look like, because that isn't Grace anymore. Like, that looks like that thing where, like, weirdos on Twitter, like, redo Aloys with like makeup and supermodel features, like, and they're not even changing anything about the Grace's like character model. They're just changing the lighting and the tone, but that's not what Grace Ashcroft is supposed to look like.
It's pretty amazing technology.
It is.
I mean, it's pretty crazy what they do.
But it ain't done yet. Like that changes the look of that shot substantially. Even if you just look at the background, it lightens it up.
Everything changes.
Like that's not what Resident Evil Requiem is supposed to look like. They don't want you to be able to see that much daylight back there. It's not supposed to be that.
And that's where the problems come in. Is when the technology starts impacting the art.
Yes.
And in this, I mean, I can still tell it's Grace, and I think if most people look at the side by side,
it looks like Grace going out for an important date.
Right, it's like she's going to go out on Saturday night.
It doesn't look like Grace
in the game,
about to investigate a place her mother was killed.
Right,
you know?
But I think if you show most people like the two images of her face, I think most people will say this looks better and more realistic. But it's not what the developers created. It is taking creative agency with Grace's face. Like they designed her to look like that.
Yeah.
That's what Capcom wanted her to look like.
And she could look like the other picture, again, if she was in a different context, if she was, going to a wedding or something, sure. But that's not what she looks like in the street
when it's raining.
The crime scene in the rain. Like, that looks like a porn version of Grace.
Yeah.
And this looks, I don't know what this is. This is like, the transition is hilarious. Like that.
They put all the scruff on in his beard and whatnot, some gray hair in his beard. This is a drastic transformation.
Yeah, these are. I feel like some of the Hogwarts ones like break the art style, like because that's part of the other problem is it makes everything look like AI generated image. Like it looks like an AI generated meme.
I think the problem is they all look the same.
Yeah, there's a sameness to all of it that needs to. And again, improving the lighting, Yeah, it absolutely does. Like, look at the clothing, look at the light on the clothes. Like, that is amazing.
It
Like, that's
is.
fantastic. If
Yeah.
you can get the tone better and the visual texture better, like to the original, that's fantastic. But you're stripping the artistry out of the characters. You're removing the tone and the mood of what the shot is supposed to look like. Because, and I've seen people, and it's like, oh, they're not changing it, just changing the light. Yeah, lighting is everything.
It is.
I can take lighting and make you look like 3 different people in 3 different photos. Anyone who has ever shot anything for television or film can tell you that.
Yeah.
Lighting is everything.
It really is. I mean, that's why you spend all day setting up the lights for a shot.
And this guy, they turned this guy into plastic. Although the coat looks great.
Yeah.
But again, it takes a lot of the dark shadows out of it. And like, Hogwarts and Harry Potter always has a little bit of like dark menace to it, especially in the post, after the 3rd movie, and Alfonso Cuarón kind of changed how that franchise presented itself visually. And this, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and defend the artistic merits of the visuals of Starfield, but like, these don't look like the same characters anymore. Like, and maybe they shouldn't. Maybe this is a lateral move when it comes to Starfield.
Yeah.
But the other shot, not this one, but the one with the 2 guys, like that looks that looks like something you'd see in like some kind of like Twitter meme, like some AI generated Twitter meme.
To me, the big red
This looks hilarious to me. Like the change to the most generified like AI generated man.
He
is very
definitely
funny.
looks AI right there. There is no doubt about it. Both of them do.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big issue with this, Matt, is that it makes every game look the same. It takes away their individual characteristics to make them all look the same. All the people look the same. It didn't matter which game they went to. They all look the same.
They all look exactly the same. Like the art style looks the same. AI slop.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you want to apply this, and I think Todd Howard came out and basically defended it and said, you can turn it on or off, and we can turn it on or off, and we can adjust how much it happens and it doesn't happen, and the player will let you turn it off if you want to. But I think that's missing the point. I mean, the point is that you have artists that you're paying who are very talented and do a great job at what they're doing, and you're wiping their work away.
Yeah, you're changing the look, changing the I mean, it's like, you know, it's sort of like the AI, the motions. It's not AI, but I mean, it is the same algorithm-based change to visuals. But like that motion smoothing on all the TVs forever, like that's not how those movies are supposed to look.
And we now go and turn them off.
Turn them immediately. Yeah.
People's houses.
Yeah, every time, or right around Christmas and Thanksgiving, you see everybody's like, oh, by the way, here's how to turn off the motion smoothing on all your parents' TVs, like for all the different models.
What NVIDIA should have done is it should have shown the possibilities. Instead of just saying, hey, here's a trailer we put out, let's show you 5 games and how it affected those games. They should have just shown one game.
Well, what they should have done is they should have made their own thing. They should have done something like remember when Unreal 5 like demoed with that like girl like looking through the cave sequence, remember?
Yep.
Should have not been an existing game. You should have just done a demo of something and then say we can make it look like this or like this.
That would have helped too. But if they had just shown that you can actually adjust it so that you can make it so your characters don't look like everybody else's characters, and you can actually still incorporate your art style into the technology, people would probably still be like, WTF, but I think they'd be a little bit more understanding or open.
But also
to
like
it.
little things like I don't know if you saw like that the shot there where the guy's sliding there. Watch his his musculature there. Like
the guy on the right
in the middle. His musculature under his shirt jiggles with his shirt after it speeds up again.
Yeah.
Because the interpolator doesn't know that that's part of his body, not part of the shirt.
Right.
The game engine does.
Right.
But it's not doing that.
And abs don't shake.
That's not how that works. That's not what that looks like. No.
Definitely not. So I'm kind of torn on this because it is incredible. Like, it is night and day when they go from one shot to the next, but to me it's worthless if it's going to make every game look identical to the other ones.
Yeah, also ETH Demon makes the very salient point that these are also running on two 5090s.
Right, two 5090s.
Like, you can't do this at home.
Not for a long time.
If you'd even want to. But again, I agree, this is very impressive tech. This is pretty much what you should be using AI algorithm work for, but you have to figure out a way to preserve the artistic integrity of what you're doing this to.
I agree.
Like, I mean, the faces and all that are like kind of the obvious thing to pick on, but one of the things I really don't like is that every before and after, the after is always brighter. The
It
after
is.
is always like, we want to show you more detail. We want to show you more. And it's not like the ray tracing thing where it's like the lighting's better so you can see more of like the dark areas.
Yeah.
It is changing the visual tone and mood of the shot, and that is blasphemy.
It is. Yeah.
That is a slap in the face to all the artists, not just the visual artists, but the people who directed the game, the creative directors, the level designers, the concept, everyone. Like
I think
that's not what that game's supposed to look like.
People who work in production like us will appreciate that a lot more too, because lighting, you know.
Lighting takes
Lighting
forever.
it's the most annoying.
It's the reason nothing happens quickly in film and television. And same in video games. You can tell how much work goes into the lighting in video games.
That was the biggest eye-opener for me, moving from just working on gaming websites to working at Tech TV. It was learning that lighting is everything. Yeah. And when you start to do, like, when we would do story-based stuff at X-Play here in LA, setting up for those shots where we would do legitimate, like, lighting, it takes like an hour to set up the shot, and then the shot takes 30 seconds, and then you move on.
Yeah. And when you realize, like, we want to do this skit, we want to do it right for TV, that's going to take 2 days.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to do for 2 days.
And when you do that, you start to appreciate the work that goes into it, and you're right, this just wipes it all away. It makes all that work irrelevant. And lighting in games, they're doing the same thing,
right.
Setting the light locations and how they're going to refract.
If they can find a way to make this preserve that, then great. Like, I
one
think
thing
this
I will
is
say,
definitely something to look into.
Yeah, one thing I will say,
it was not ready to be presented in this way. Certainly not without commentary.
Yep, 1,000%. Like, NVIDIA totally blew unveiling this, like, big time.
Because like what you said, the way they've done this makes it look like they can't do it any other way.
Yeah, because they show you a different game and they look the same every time.
Right, exactly.
At the very least, they should have made sure that all these character models look completely different from each other.
Or, like, I don't know, use other games that have more of a cartoony art style.
What is that going to do?
What does that look like?
I mean, it probably doesn't.
They probably just make it look like that, right? Yeah.
I mean,
like, oh my God, what did they do to Mario? Like,
I mean, I'll just say,
yeah, you notice they didn't use Nintendo games for this.
No, I'll just say, like, this soccer shot, it does feel a little bit like it's a face pasted onto the character model that's struggling to stay rigged to the character model.
Yeah, it looks like a
mask,
like a TikTok
almost.
filter.
Yeah,
like when you see someone's filter slip and it's like, oh my God. Like,
yep. Yeah. So, look, here's the other thing. NVIDIA always unveils this tech, and it always takes 2 5090s or whatever to make it run. And then a year and a half later, they say it can kind of work on our very most expensive video card. And then 2 years after that, people like me who buy the 4070 or whatever finally can actually make use of it. Like, this is way far in the future, like 3-4 years until we're getting this stuff in real time. So NVIDIA does have a lot of time to kind of figure out a better way to present this going forward, but man, did they botch it.
And one thing that Todd Howard probably is correct about, and there's a sentence you don't hear every day, well, he's probably right. Like, now that games going forward know they can incorporate this technology, they will be able to build their stuff in and tell the DLSS 5 how they want it to look.
Chill out. Like, so we just want the lighting.
So my guess would be sort of along the timeline of what you're describing. Like, I bet The Witcher 4 is going to use this real damn well.
Yeah. And it won't look the same as everything else.
Yeah.
Because also they're working together
But applying it to games that were made before this existed, you're going to get this sort of AI filter look to it. I'm sure you can go back and fix... I mean, probably Hogwarts won't, because Warner Brothers are going through some stuff right now. Yeah. But the others, maybe you could go back and tweak it.
You could. Yep. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of red flags that come up with this. I think the other fear, too, is that not every developer is Bethesda, and there's a lot of small fries out there that will take any trick they can get to make their games look better. And I think with that, you're going to see sort of that generic face on every indie game for the next, 10 years or whatever.
Every, quick turner. I mean, every asset flip's going to look like this. There's about to be a revolution in porn games here.
You're right, though.
Like, no more of the static picture porn games. Now everything's going to move.
Yep. So anyway, the internet is losing its mind over this. Developers are chiming in from all over the place. It does feel like it runs the gamut. There's some people like Todd who are like, yeah, I mean, this is off-putting, but thinking about it practically, if they tweak it, I can make it work, blah, blah, blah. Then you have the other developers that are like, F this, I'll never use it.
Todd also works for a company that's owned by a company
An
that
AI company
has invested billions upon billions into similar technology.
And he can probably see what's coming on down the pipe in the next 5 years or whatever, that he's going to be forced to use tech like that.
He probably already knows what this is going to look like in 5 years and is already working on it. He already knows what Elder Scrolls 6 is going to look like with this, and it probably looks fine.
It probably does.
You know?
Yeah. And again, I think NVIDIA just completely dropped the ball.
Yeah, this is all on NVIDIA, I think.
It really is.
Not even in the sense of, like, you made bad technology, but in the sense of, like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like,
I could have told you this. If you showed me that video and said, Shane, what's going to happen when we put this out? I've been like, oh my God.
Yeah, everyone's going to freak out that they all look like the same character.
And they did. And that's exactly what's happened. So I think not just NVIDIA, I think companies in general need to get smarter about how they unveil any technology, but particularly anything even vaguely related to AI.
Like if you'd realize that kind of reaction and you'd let it cook a little longer, all we'd be complaining about right now is that it was running on 25090s.
Yeah. And that it's years away instead of the actual aesthetics of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because preserving the aesthetics of, I mean, that's the problem with some of the DLSS stuff with like the frame interpolation, frame generation, is like it makes it muddy and gross, and like you can tell that it's not.
Yeah, when you turn quickly,
it smears background
artifacts.
details.
Yeah.
The horizon looks weird. The mountains don't look right, and like that's the most complaints about DLSS frame generation come from the frame generation messing with the art style, messing with the visuals, and like that is clearly the most important thing to players. Is like you have to balance the performance gain against how you're impacting the look of the game. So how you're impacting the artistic presentation.
For sure.
And I think they've more or less found that with the frame generation, and it's bizarre to me that they didn't think that would apply here.
Yeah. Let's check in with you guys, because again, people are pissed about this, so I want to get your perspective. Veritas, I thought for sure Shane would have liked this. Glad to be wrong. I'm not sure what he means. He thought I was going to like it just in general and have no qualms with it? I don't know.
I mean, you do like the concept of what it's doing.
Yeah, I do.
It's a good idea. It's just they're not there yet.
It's not there. They shouldn't have unveiled it yet. And then how they did unveil it was a huge mistake. Retro and Modern Gamer, NVIDIA did say this was launching in the fall with new GPUs, and that's insane. Like, it's not ready. Like, it should not launch in the fall. If they're running on 25090s, like, how can they launch it in the fall?
You're just gonna run it like, I don't know, maybe she'll just look like half a porn star. I don't know. I mean, really, the answer is you're just going to leave it off until you have a card that can run it properly, and they've upgraded it. They've upgraded it to actually look good.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be if there was a way to be like, don't touch their faces, maybe like.
Because the clothes definitely look better.
Yeah, a lot of the environment stuff does. Again, I don't like how much it brightens everything, because that's messing with the. But maybe you can probably tweak that.
Yeah.
But like basically, I don't touch the characters' faces, and like the rest of it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. Let's see. The Legacy X on YouTube. It's Unreal Engine 3 all over again, where everything looks the same. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Except back then it was just bald-headed people.
Yeah, so no, we're not doing hair yet. We're doing buzz cuts and dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And do-rags.
Yeah. Sotness says DLSS 5 is hire this man without the man. That's pretty great. Prince Kev45 asks, will the next Xbox have that tech? Yeah, I mean, it probably will.
If it has NVIDIA.
Yeah. It doesn't, though. It's AMD.
Then it would not.
Yeah, it will not. Yeah,
it'll have AMD's version of it.
Right, which they'll create. They'll totally steal it. Vincent says they said there are versions with only one card. It just wasn't ready to show it the public. Yeah, again, they just showed it too early.
Well, guess what? The 2-card one wasn't ready to show the public.
It wasn't either. Cinetype says faces look way off in Uncanny Valley. I don't know if it quite goes to Uncanny Valley for me. They're still stylized.
It's
in
a different kind of Uncanny. It's Uncanny Valley is like that's not real. Yeah. Whereas this is like that's AI. Like, it's a different giveaway, but it is the same kind of
concept. Where there's something in the back of your mind it tells you.
Like I can't play this because I'm just going to be thinking about that the whole time. You know, Uncanny Valley is a similar thing.
Yeah. And then he continues, even scenario lighting can look too much HDR and too much ambient occlusion. I say no to this.
That's true.
Quickster says they completely ignore the fact that animations and rigging are still the same. Uncanny Valley, here we come.
Yeah, I think it is significant that we don't really see Grace and Leon doing anything in these. They're not
Right.
talking. They're not looking at things. She's not screaming at things.
Well, notice the one action shot with the soccer players was the one that was off-putting to
Yeah.
me. That's where I was like, wait a minute. It feels like that face is
Face is
pasted
pasted on, and it turns out so were his abdominal muscles.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not there.
Retro Modern Gamer says this is like Pixar trying to make CG look like real life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But nobody needs a photoreal Woody or Flick from A Bug's Life. No one would want to watch that.
Yep. What else?
Even you'll notice in A Bug's Life, you notice who the most realistic looking insects are in that? The bad guys.
Yeah.
The grasshoppers.
Right.
Because they have the most like detail on them.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be kind of like, oh,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
like Flick and all the other like the good guy bugs are all like cartoony, like, blobby bugs.
That's
So
funny, actually.
That's basic art theory, and clearly the algorithm doesn't know that yet.
Yeah. Silkshake says, F the people bullying Digital Foundry, because Digital Foundry kind of discussed it like you and I did. It's like, it wasn't a great rollout, but I can see that tech might have opportunities in the future. People freaked out on them and like went after them
I
over
saw
it.
that.
And they're like the nicest dudes ever.
And they didn't even say anything weird about it. It's just like, it's just very obviously this is not working properly.
It's the hive mind internet. I talk about
It's
it
not
all
just the
time.
hive mind internet. A lot of those people, I assure you, have money tied up in AI investment
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And everything with AI has to be successful or they're going to lose their shirts. And, well, guess what?
Yep. I mean, talk to Pactor about AI sometime. You can definitely tell he's got some money
Oh,
tied
he got
up.
something tied up. And I know.
I try to help him. I'm like, man, if I were you, I would like sell some of that stock. I'm just
Pull
telling.
all the way out of that.
He thinks I'm crazy. He's like, oh, I'm going to ride this to riches. And I'm like, okay.
No, the people who are going to get rich off that already have.
Yeah.
Or are about to. They're not anyone investing from the outside.
No.
Like that. They're all people that have stakes in things that have been there forever.
Yep. From Retro Modern Gaming, the last one. Do you think next-gen consoles, Project Helix and PS6 that use machine learning will explore this technology? Two other good points I saw was people who mod games. Who cares if people can turn this on or off? Also, should a game artist be concerned about their jobs because of this? The last question, no. I mean, that's really,
because you still need the game to be there to put this filter on
But you
it.
still need an artist to tell the AI what to make. Like, everything still takes an artist at the root. Like,
Well, there's no artist at NVIDIA doing that.
yeah.
But it couldn't do what it did to Grace and Leon if Grace and Leon weren't already there, made
Right.
by human artists.
Right.
Like that has to be there. Project Helix and PS6, I'm sure will use something similar, but they won't use this because they don't use NVIDIA.
Yeah, because I think PS6 is also AMD.
PS6 would also be its own thing.
Yeah.
Because it already has whatever that.
Well, they also have their
PSS,
own frame
whatever-
gen,
that's what-
PSRR, whatever
Yeah,
the hell it's called.
that's what that will be. It'll be their version of adapting this into that if they decide to use it.
They literally just launched version 2.0 of that this week. And it's like works for like 10 games right now, and it'll roll out to others. But yeah, PlayStation has its own frame gen technology that it will use on the
I don't
PlayStation
think there is any NVIDIA stuff in any of the
PSSR,
consoles
I think
yet.
is what it's called.
Yeah,
Is that
PSSR.
right?
I think PSSR is right.
Yeah.
And that's been okay.
Yeah.
It did okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
It only works on the PS5 Pro, don't forget. though.
anything else like this will have to be done in house by Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony because they don't
Yeah.
use NVIDIA stuff.
Yeah. Which is crazy, honestly. Not like NVIDIA needs a business or anything, but they've all gone with AMD.
I mean, it's probably good because AMD at least can keep some prices down and seems to have some continued interest in the gaming market. I mean,
because AMD is not too big for gaming.
no, definitely not.
NVIDIA is, but AMD is not.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little surprising to me that they even brought this up in the sense that they were talking about winding down their game card production in not too recently,
Yeah.
not that long ago, rather.
Well, they're like reworking the 5070. It's like the only new card that they're putting out this year.
Which isn't really meant for. They're probably not even targeting that for gaming
Yeah.
price wise because they want it for AI data center stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like 95% of their business now. Like gaming used to be like something more like 70% of their business, and now it's like 5%.
And shrinking fast
Yeah.
until the AI
Until the bubble pops, and then all of a sudden,
And
like,
all of a
oh,
sudden, hey,
look who's
gamers."
back.
And the sad truth is, nobody right now. There's an opportunity for somebody
Yeah.
else to move in and take over GPU production, and nobody's doing it.
No, and I'll admit, like when that did happen, I would probably stick with NVIDIA. Like,
Would you?
NVIDIA is just, I do find them over the course of all these years, I find them to be the most reliable graphics hardware.
Also, games are built for
They're
NVIDIA
built with that in
first.
mind, like
Yeah.
the full feature stuff, like.
Yeah.
the app, you can tweak stuff in there. You know, that's one of the reasons I'm not super worried about this thing, is because they do give you a lot of control over that.
Yeah.
Even by default in their app.
Yeah.
Even per game.
Yeah.
So I don't like the result here, but it doesn't feel like the end of the world. Certainly as long as DLSS 4 is still around, like I think that does fine for the most part.
I think that's at 4.5 or something now. Because it seems like a completely different beast from
this is
all
a
the
totally
other
different
DLSS. Like, it seems like it's just this whole new thing, and maybe that's why NVIDIA fell on his face trying to debut it.
Maybe so. Because it feels like it's like you put that in, and I'm just going to disable the things that make everything look weird and try to basically pare it down to 4.5 as best I can with a little extra bells and whistles in the environment, and we'll see what we can get.
Yeah.
But again, I think you're right that it is sort of laying a giant filter over things, and that may be hard to tweak in that regard, because it feels like they're just painting it with one big brush.
All those games look the same.
Yeah.
After it did the wipe, they could have all those character models could have all been in the same video game.
Yeah, I think you're closer than you realize when you talk about it. The face being pasted, because once you said that, it really does look like filters on like when people use filters on like the TikTok and Snapchat
and Instagram and all those.
Like if like Leon looked the wrong way, all his facial hair would disappear again.
Or the mask would come off a little bit on the side or whatever.
And you see all the wrinkles.
Yeah. Or you just see smooth. Because that's the thing. Yeah. Like, all the character models, the faces were baby smooth. And then once they went through the filter, they looked aged. So it definitely, I think it did a good job in some ways, but again, you need to be able to differentiate that across art styles.
Well, because it's like saying it's like, oh, light, harder, more realistic lighting makes everyone's wrinkles stand out more. So we're gonna give Leon wrinkle. I mean,
well, he's supposed to be 50 or something.
He's like 48 or something.
Yeah.
Like, but again, I'm older than that.
Yeah.
I don't look like that.
You don't look like that. Yeah, yeah.
In both good and bad ways.
Right. I wish I looked like Leon in other ways. Well, anyway, there you go. That's NVIDIA's DLSS 5. Undoubtedly the big firebrand topic for the week in gaming. And it just happened like yesterday. And people have just freaked out for the last 24 hours over it.
I had people outside of the gaming hobby asking me about that. Like that broke containment in a way that very few graphics card demos do. That was remarkable.
I think you need the overzealous people as well to kind of make the point and drive the point home. Like, they're annoying to me a lot of times, and I'm like, I can't imagine being that way. But sometimes you do need kind of the psychos to like pound the point home to a company like NVIDIA that's like, look, man, like,
there's no other way a company like NVIDIA is going to listen.
Right. Yeah. If it's you and I saying, like, well, I can see things that are good and things that are bad. They're like, well, good. That's great.
All right. That's a starting point. It's like, no, you need people screaming to some degree.
You really do, sadly.
Because otherwise, you need to scare these megacorps a little bit.
You do. That money is like the only thing that really...
Yeah, you know the amount. I mean, people go on and on about, oh, Gen AI is going to save so much money. It's like one day, maybe. Yeah. But right now, you are dumping literally tens of billions into this thing to try to make it work. And like,
make it happen.
Think about the data centers that are going to be required to let everyone who plays these games do that all day, every day, for every game,
it is not
constantly,
worth it.
Never.
Again, if you're over leveraged in AI, I would just recommend. I'm not a stock guy or a stock expert, but man, it just seems like you are just cruising for a bruising.
Maybe diversify a little bit.
Yeah, maybe just sell half of it or something.
I don't know. Superconductors or
just
something.
Trying to help. That's all. I tried to help Hector, man. I tried to be as subtle about it and nice about it as possible. I'm just like, I think you got a blind spot here on this one. Like, you need to talk to more people about it, because his contention is it's all about enterprise and working with corporations, and that, like, you know, Microsoft's AI Copilot is just going to automatically be adopted by every company because they already pay for Microsoft's others. And he may be right about that stuff.
I mean, he is right that the use case, the consumer-facing subscription model is a dead end.
Yeah.
But it is like the use case of doing it a kind of an internal corporate thing is probably the most feasible path.
Getting Chase Bank to pay you like $500 million a year to use it across all its employees.
Right. But that only lasts as long as it takes for like someone to realize, like, oh, it's getting all this stuff wrong, and now we need all the people we fired to come back and double check everything, because none of the people who are left actually know how this works. We thought the AI was going to handle that, which is not something. It's like the idea of like the idea of being able to buy like a humanoid robot, like Optimus, like the Tesla Optimus thing, and then like, oh, it's going to do all your stuff for you. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to bring the robot in and you're going to give it your vacuum and just say like, okay, vacuum the house. But it can't do
dishes.
That. It doesn't know, like it can't identify that the cat has thrown a hairball up on the couch and it needs to clean that with a different thing. It's just going to run. And it's like
just gonna smear it in the
carpet. And it's gonna have all the same problems you do, or kind of has to get around this way and has to fit this around here and has to move the table.
But it's a robot, so it can't articulate its arm right.
But it's like, why don't you just buy a Roomba?
Right.
Like robots by definition are built to
do a very specific
job, and your dishwasher is a robot.
It is. Yeah.
It's a little rectangle that sits under your counter, can't go anywhere, but it does one thing and it does it better and faster than you can.
Yeah.
And that's a robot.
Yeah.
And aren't we lucky that whoever invented the dishwasher in 18 whatever didn't think it had to look like a woman,
like a human,
like a washerwoman? Because that's the thing I always, when someone is very fixated on the humanoid AI robot servants, I'm like, you want a slave?
Yeah.
That's what that says to me.
Some of them want a sex slave.
That too, but that is a whole different show.
But it's like you look at the practical applications of robotics in society, and it's Coco, which are these little, they're basically coolers on wheels.
On wheels, yeah.
With the GPS chip in them.
With the thing I love about those is the fact that they are cute and they have the faces.
They have the face.
You know why they have those?
To make people not mess with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people don't
personify
destroy them.
Yeah. They got their cute little flag that goes side to side while they're going down the sidewalk.
Those are one of the few things, because they're all over the place in LA.
Yeah,
they're one of the few things I see like just driving around where I'm like, it is the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like this, like one of the few. And every time I order food, it's like your thing may come in a. I'm like, it never does. Yeah. I've never gotten one of the little cute robots come up to my. I'm like, I absolutely would like to see the cute robot deliver my food, but they never do.
We take it for granted here. Like if you post a video of Coco or Waymo driverless cabs on Facebook, and like all my friends and family from Pennsylvania watch it, it blows their minds.
Oh, yeah.
We were just slowly indoctrinated into it, basically.
I'll tell you what, like the Waymo stuff, like I understand the skepticism of that, and I haven't used them for anything, but I will say, and some people are like, oh, you must hate the Waymos because they come to complete stops every time, and they go
better.
But it's better because they are 100% predictable.
You can count on what they're going to do.
You know exactly what a Waymo is going to do.
It's not any given moment lanes randomly.
And the worst thing in LA traffic is the people that just do random shit. Before I even get off my block, I have said, "What are you doing?" 3 times. So that is one thing that's important. But the thing that I was the point I was trying to get to eventually with the humanoid robot thing, is part of the problem with this AI thing in terms of applying it to stuff like this. Is they want it to be this like, we're gonna make this one thing and it's gonna do everything, and no one has ever used technology that way. The technological improvements and upgrades to basically make something do something better than we do it. It has always been custom built for that task, and that is not what Gen AI has been doing, and it doesn't seem to be able to. No one's gotten it there for a lot of these different tasks either. Like there's
They'd be
a reason
more successful. You're right, though, if they honed it in on like one thing.
There's a reason that the robots we built to make cars are just arms on.
With the screwdriver on the end.
And they don't all look like Toyota workers from 1984. It's like. No one recreated the movie Gung Ho with robots. They just made the things that need to weld stuff and get it up because that's all it needs to do. It doesn't need an external
It's function
life.
over fashion.
The robot doesn't need legs to go drink at the bar and complain about how many things it had to weld today. It's such a weird way and that's exactly what's happening there. Is like you are just painting with one brush instead of saying what does each one of these cases need as a human consultant or that's literally what business is. It is applying your expertise to a particular problem that has been brought to you by your client. Yeah. And that is not what is happening here.
They're trying to just make it happen, dude. They're just trying to force it on everybody.
Because so much money's been thrown into it. The sunk cost fallacy is about to implode.
It really
basically.
is. Yeah. So anyway, that's the latest on AI in game development. It is an ongoing story. Like GDC just happened, and one thing that came out of that GDC was that less developers are going to use AI to make games this year versus what they said last year, which is encouraging. Yeah. So it does look like slowly things are heading in the right direction, I guess.
Think so. And in the meantime, 700,000 people look up from Slay the Spire 2 like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing what?
I don't know, I'm playing this. Like my niece drew it with a marker or whatever, It really puts things in perspective. All right, it's time to move on. Next, We're going to talk about GDC 2026 because there wasn't much news coming out of there, but I think
such as it is.
Such as it is. I think what everybody was looking forward to was new information on Xbox Project Helix because the new head of Xbox, Asha Sharma, had said that she was going to share more, or they were going to share more, at GDC 2026. She said they were going to share something very soon when she first took the job, and sure enough, a week later, they announced that Xbox Helix plays both PC and Xbox games, and it's going to be really powerful. And then she said, we're not done. We're going to talk more about that at GDC 2026. And they did, but not all that much. Basically, the information that we got from Project Helix is that nothing. We really
I mean, what is there to say, really? There's not much else to say about it until you're ready to tell us when it comes out and how much it's going to cost, right?
Yeah. I mean,
you don't have a lineup to announce.
There's the specs. I mean, they did give us some information. It is powered, like pretty much every console these days, it is powered by a custom AMD system-on-chip. And it is co-designed for the next generation of DirectX and FSR to take advantage of what comes next. So basically, they're building a console, not trying to build it so it works with today's DLSS or FSR, but what is going to be coming down the pipe. So earlier when we were talking about the new DLSS 5, you guys were asking us if it's going to be in the new consoles. Here's Microsoft telling you, yes, that it's going to be in the consoles. Now, will DLSS 5 make it to the next Xbox? That might be dicey.
No, and it won't be DLSS. That's NVIDIA's trademark.
It'll be their
some
FSR
kind of
AMD's
version of that.
Yeah. And so they said that they are creating the next Xbox with that in mind, making sure that it works with the new FSR. They also said, and here's the big one, Matt, that probably is going to generate the most discussion for us, is that Microsoft and Xbox announced that development kits aren't going out until next year, until 2027. So I had a little bit of a discussion about this on Sifted with Sifters, and I think it was Cinetype maybe that said that because it's a PC architecture, that it may not be that long until the console launches after 2027. To me, my knee-jerk reaction to it was, okay, if you're sending out dev kits in mid to late 2027, best case scenario, the first games will be ready by a year from then, like Q4 2028, which is when it would launch. Cinetype brought up a good point, though, in our discussion. He said that, well, really, though, if this console is just a PC... and you're building the games.
The only thing you need to do with that dev kit is make sure it works with the OS layer.
Right.
That's I think is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Here.
And so maybe, even though the dev kits aren't going out until 2027, there is still maybe a chance that the console could launch in 2027.
I think their target is the end of 2027.
You think so?
Yeah.
So Pactor yesterday, we recorded...
Also, who gives a shit who has dev kits or whatever thing, because it's just going to play everything anyway. Like, it's just going to be a PC.
That's what I'm getting at. Is that do dev kits matter?
Not for this.
So another thing that Microsoft did at GDC is it released the first images of the dev kits and a couple other things, just related art to Project Helix or whatever, and the logo and all that. But that's the other thing that they shared about it. But
next-gen frame rates is a very funny bullet point because 30 FPS is pretty much what next-gen tends to run at every new generation because they don't have anything like locked down yet.
Yeah. But again, if it's just a PC in a different form factor or whatever, and you're building the games for PC, those games are done when those games are done. They're done for the new Xbox.
Yeah.
So, conceivably...
And you're going to be bringing the whole Xbox library forward onto it.
Yeah.
So, because they have all that stuff internally. You know, they don't need their own dev kits to do that.
Right.
It's already happening.
You could release games for the next Xbox before the next Xbox is even launched and before there are dev kits out there.
Of course.
You know what the architecture is already.
It's just a thing that plays video games.
Yeah, PC games.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And my guess is PlayStation 6 probably going to be the same damn thing. As close to PC architecture as PlayStation feels comfortable with.
Yeah, as close as Mark Cerny will allow himself to get.
That's a good... Because you're right. You do have that figurehead there on PlayStation who feels like he needs to interject and provide his input on this stuff. I get that. But otherwise, like, you really could get games out for this console very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the idea behind the whole concept of making it a PC console hybrid.
I think they're trying to make it as frictionless as possible for both development and consumers.
Any hurdle
outside of the price.
Yeah. any hurdle that Sony adds for the PlayStation 6 is going to be a detriment to making games for the PlayStation 6 versus the Xbox / PC going forward.
But you know what the trade-off for that is
your games will sell on
your
the
games will
PlayStation.
sell 15 times more. Yeah, I think that's
and that does become an interesting question then. Even though development will be easy on Xbox, like, will they still prioritize PlayStation 6? Probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'd be an idiot not to. So, I mean, the good news is that the next Xbox, if you're concerned about it not getting software or whatever because Xbox's console business is dying, it's going to be so easy. And I think that's where we are now, Matt.
If it's on PC, it'll be on Xbox. That's basically
right.
what it is.
And I think we're already there. Like, these developers and publishers, they know they're not going to sell any copies of the Xbox Series version. But every single game that's announced, it is announced for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. They haven't even started including Switch 2 yet in a lot of the big third-party games, even though that architecture probably is just as easy to develop.
That, I think, is a function of how late those dev kits get went out.
Yeah. Because that is
a different thing.
That is a different beast, for sure. But, if you're making a console that's just a PC, those games are just going to come ripping out. And even though no one's buying your console, it's like, why not? Like, what if it ends up on Game Pass? We still need to have that version ready if we end up signing a deal with Game Pass. And if it's so cheap to create that port for Xbox, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, and you're probably going to have incentive from Microsoft anyway.
Right. They're going to incentivize you in some way, for sure.
I'm sure behind the scenes they are making this, again, as frictionless as possible. I'm sure integrating whatever OS layer that makes the Xbox an Xbox in that regard is going to be very simple.
It's just a UI would be
Pretty
my
much,
guess.
yeah.
I mean,
you just got to make sure it doesn't crash it, and that's it.
Pretty much.
Make sure the blades come out.
Doesn't crash the dashboard, you're good to go.
Yeah, and basically everything does that now, even Steam. So it's already kind of probably built. It's probably a pretty lateral move.
It feels like it. So I was a little nervous at first. I was like, man, why would anybody make games for Xbox going forward? Unless you already know you have a deal for Game Pass.
It really doesn't cost you anything.
But now it's so cheap. And that's why we keep seeing Xbox Series versions. Nobody's buying them, but they keep making them.
That's probably the only reason the new Xbox would still be happening is like if we can figure out a way so that if you finish the PC version of something, you have also coincidentally finished the Xbox version, then you're there.
Because Matt, if they tried to make a proprietary console with the next Xbox, it would die.
Yeah,
Nobody would make games for it. Nobody would take an extra minute to make games for Xbox.
Well, what would it net you?
Nothing. Yeah. So it's a PC version. It's done. Might as well release it. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe it sells, maybe it doesn't. And
my guess is no physical games coming for the next Xbox at all. It's going to be digital
would not be surprising.
Only.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to take the risk of manufacturing it.
Will it even have a desk drive, do you think?
That's a tough one. I think no. I really think no. Because I think they also know no one's going to make physical games for the next Xbox.
You'd have to be in a limited run sort of thing. Or maybe you do a separate drive add-on.
And that's such a small market that
it's a market that's probably still worth serving to some degree, but I think you charge them out the ass for it. I think you make the disc drive
you definitely don't lose any money on it.
Yeah, you make the Blu-ray drive a separate add-on.
Yeah.
That probably doesn't even connect to the system. You just plug it in through the USB. And then you can buy the discs for it.
Yep.
But
I don't think there'll be physical games for the next Xbox. I really don't.
Probably not.
Why would you?
Outside of special edition, limited stuff.
But then it's why would you put the drive out? If it's only going to be limited run games or whatever.
If the people will buy it.
Yeah.
It depends what components would cost. But again,
I wouldn't put it at a price where I'm losing any money on it. I'll put it to you that way. Not. I would make sure I turn a profit on it.
But I think if you can. You could probably milk the diehard physical games only community pretty hard for that. If because there were going to be people that
supply and demand.
It's supply and demand, but also if people who do that and preserve those things and are collectors of those things are also going to know physical games for that Xbox are going to be some of the rarest things of the era.
That's what I'm saying. Supply and demand. There just won't be many of them.
Right.
So
but what
maybe
I'm saying is they'll
be
super valuable in the future. So I think you would sell a certain set number of them. And maybe Microsoft is greedy enough to do that to those people.
I would say right now, I don't think it will have a drive, though. Retro Modern Gamer says, oh, wait, that's the old question. Let me scroll down here to get to what you guys are saying now. Oh, the chat's really moved on here. Eve Demon, I don't think there will be many physical games for PS6 either. Interesting. That's a good point, actually. I think there will be more than there are for Xbox.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing they've done with the Pro, and you have to buy the disk drive separate.
Like an external, that you snap it on in some way, or it still fits in with the form factor. Like they were pretty slick with how they did the drive.
Yeah, that worked out okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I probably would just keep my PS5 Pro as a Blu-ray player at that point, because again, the PlayStation Blu-ray players have been some of the best Blu-ray players around.
Yeah.
I found, and I like how
you
they
can
work.
find Blu-rays to buy.
I've got tons of them.
Yeah.
You gotta get them online now. You can't go to a store anymore. But
can you get them still online for new films?
Yeah, everything comes out on.
Oh,
Blu-ray.
okay,
Everything
I didn't know
comes
that actually.
Everything comes out on 4K UHD.
I didn't know that
100%.
actually. I thought they had stopped.
No.
That's good to hear. I'm a physical media warrior. I'm the last one left.
No, I still buy. I still buy all the Studio Ghibli and all the Marvel stuff on 4K. I buy my stuff I like. My favorite stuff I buy on 4K. I got the Dune stuff and Sinners, and I do keep up with that in terms of.
It's a pleasant surprise to hear that.
Yeah.
Silksnake says, "Do you think stores will stock Xbox games?"
No.
My local toy store has a tiny shelf for Xbox, and are phasing that out. That's the way it is everywhere.
I would be shocked if there was Xbox sections anymore once they finish clearing out the current generation.
It's like going to Japan game stores. It's like they just put the Xbox stuff in a dusty closet over in the corner or whatever. But it's like you'd have like a whole row of Nintendo, a whole row of PlayStation, and then a little end cap for the Xbox in the Japanese game stores. So yeah, I don't think that they will stock them. I think you'd have to probably special order them, kind of like how Matt is ordering his Blu-rays now. That'd be my guess anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only place I have bought Blu-rays in a physical store in recent years is Barnes & Noble.
Were they new or used?
New. Brand new. Barnes & Noble is the official physical brick and mortar store that carry Criterion Collection.
Oh.
And 3 or 4 times a year they have a big 50% off Criterion sale, so you go and buy your Criterion movies. You bulk buy all the Criterions you want then, because it's the cheapest you're ever going to get them.
I see.
But yeah, they still exist. It's just Best Buy didn't carry them anymore. Target is very limited. Walmart, I haven't been in a Walmart in forever.
Yeah.
But it's just you don't go shopping for Blu-rays anymore. You just you find what you want and you order them.
And you order it.
And there's like Shout Factory and Arrow and all these places still. They do. It's a specialty market now basically for collectors with slipcases and box. I mean, I still keep up with the Shawscope box sets, which are the Shaw Brothers movies.
Yeah.
They've done 4 really good collections of like 15 movies each of all these Shaw Brothers kung fu movies that I saw on Channel 36 at like
back in the day,
9 p.m. in the middle. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of them are in these collections, and I don't know which ones they are because I never knew what the names of these movies were. I was watching because I just tuned in like in the middle of them, and I was like, I don't know. It's the one where the guy flies across the room and stabs a guy in the face, and I don't know. I don't know what the names of any of these things are.
We have a super chat over on YouTube from MBRX2QY. Thank you very much. The question, interesting. The next Xbox may not have a native version of GTA 6 if the PC version hasn't yet released when the console launches. That's an interesting perspective.
Well, also, the Xbox wouldn't have one anyway because it's PlayStation exclusive.
Well,
No,
it's not. It's coming to Xbox.
A normal Xbox?
And Xbox Series S, believe it or not.
We'll see what that looks like.
I know. I can't wait to see what that looks like. But you bring up a good point. Like, once they make it for Xbox, the PC version's done, right?
Maybe.
Can you play Xbox's PC games on PC?
I mean, I don't know how that works.
That's a good question.
Like, is the PC version of Outer Worlds 2 different from the Xbox version?
Right.
Probably. The install sizes are different.
Like, my question, though, the big one, though, well, I mean, since GTA is coming out soon, presumably.
Well,
we'll see.
A year from now.
Yeah, I hope not. But presumably, if it comes out soon, then it's a different story. But if it were to come out after the new Xbox had launched, literally, even though there's no PC version of GTA 6, could PC players play it then on PC anyway?
Probably not. I don't think...
There's probably some weird hook in the code or something to keep it from working.
Yeah, maybe if it was a version built for Helix, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it wouldn't be built for... It would just be running the Xbox version on it.
Yeah.
Whatever the OS would be able to interpret that.
I wonder if Microsoft will be able to...
you can't just take an Xbox game and run it on PC.
But with Helix, will you be able to, is what I'm getting at.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
it's still going to be packaged.
That's what I think,
It's still going to be
too.
packaged in something that only the OS can decode, I think.
But I do wonder if Microsoft...
But I do agree with Gune, or however you pronounce that name, that Helix will have an Xbox mode and a resource-limited PC mode. I think that's probably true. I think it will have like a jailbreak light option. That seems pretty likely to me.
Yeah. Retro Modern Gamer says, I think they will be pivoting Xbox to PC because there are more PC owners now than Xbox, and they can brag about how huge their PC Xbox user base is. I mean, that will be a gigantic install base.
Again, as I keep saying, Xbox is a publishing brand now, and that is an advantage of making it that, is everyone who plays a Microsoft published game on PC is an Xbox gamer now.
Yeah. Cinetech also brings up a good point. Xbox said it will play your Xbox games, the Helix. So they have to have at least an external drive for folks to put their Series X and Xbox One games into.
That's true. I do feel like you sell that separate, though.
I do, too. I don't, being honest, I still think Microsoft may be like, we don't care.
I think that's probably true.
It's just, why? Like, why would we do that? Like, they're like,
if you want to give us money for this stupid archaic shit, go ahead. But like, I really feel like that's what it'll be.
Yeah. Million miles away. Thank you for Twitch Prime, man. Appreciate that. Silksnake says, I got money back for Resident Evil 9 because it was so in demand. I guess he sold it because it was sold out, and he got more money for it.
Back and they paid him back what it was worth. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Retro Modern Gamer says, you put Blu-rays on Amazon wishlist and then buy it when you get an alert when it's on sale.
Or when you're like me, you buy it when it comes out because you want the slipcover.
Yeah. Nano, first time chat. Welcome to GameFace. We're here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Come back and see us again. Your first chat, I won't be surprised if Blu-ray production discontinues because no one buys movies on disc.
That is not true.
No?
Blu-ray sales are actually up. People are rediscovering physical media in the wake of the streaming service kind of semi-collapse. And Gen Z is a big demographic for it.
They're buying vinyl and DVDs.
The vinyl industry is $1 billion market now.
It's selling more vinyl now than ever.
Ever. So I used to work at a back in the late 90s, I ran a video game store that was an annex of a vinyl market store in the town I grew up in, and a guy who owned it, a guy named Gary. And that was and he was exactly who you think owned a records. I mean, just the tank
long
top.
hair, goatee.
No. Tank top, like just like no nonsense.
Okay.
Probably former biker dude, definitely had probably been to Vietnam or something.
Yeah.
Like he was no nonsense, and he was like, "Oh, you damn kids are too cavalier about all this." We had to teach him how computers work so he could sell stuff on eBay,
right?
Because he was struggling to keep the store open at the time.
Oh,
it was
right.
the late 90s.
The money,
because no one was buying records at the time. And I went back there a few years ago to see how things were going, and it's still open, and the video game store is back there, still open, being manned by his grandchild, who I used to have to babysit.
That's awesome.
In the store. That's how I watched all of Dragon Ball Z, because the two kids loved Dragon Ball Z, and he couldn't stand it, so he sent him into our store to watch Dragon Ball Z, so he wouldn't have to listen to it. So that's how I saw Dragon Ball Z, was babysitting the two kids. But he was an adult now and running that store, and I went and talked to Gary and asked him, and he's like, man, life is so good right now.
Because awesome, man.
Because the vinyl industry's huge,
and
I hung on through those terrible years,
great, man.
and I still have. And he's like, come over here, and he shows me. He's got these two copies of one. It was a Rolling Stones album. I can't remember which one it was, but he's like these two are like $70 each now. I must have paid 5 cents when I got these like 30 years ago. I have 40 more.
He is cashing
in the vault, like in the storage unit in the back of the store. But I only put like 2 out at a time,
so they don't think there's a lot of them.
There's tons of them. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. He's like,
that's great to hear.
It's like it's a booming thing.
That's
right
awesome.
now
That's awesome.
because of how big that got. So every once in a while, people will come back around and realize, and I think that's starting to happen with physical movies now. And especially actually TV shows, as these things start to disappear from streaming services. Right. The boom, the spike in Looney Tunes disc prices after Warner Brothers pulled all those off of HBO Max was such a huge spike that they're putting new versions out on disc this year. Because people will give us money for that. We should probably do something about that.
Nuts.
It's like, who would have thought?
Lots of people are pointing out that Xbox's first-party games are Play Anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So those conceivably would be playable on PC right away.
That's not how that works. Like, the version you are downloading and installing on PC is not the same exact piece of software on your Xbox.
But I think they're saying with Helix that might change.
It just gives your account access to both of those things.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would really change.
Yeah.
In fact, I would imagine if, say, you switch the Helix to like PC mode, I would imagine it would install the PC version.
It should.
Instead of the Xbox version. I think the Xbox version is more like, it's probably in some kind of wrapper that that interfaces with the OS.
That's what I'm
somehow.
saying. Yeah, that's all it is. Probably.
But I don't know what the difference would be between the versions inside those two things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that necessarily translates to. I mean, it wouldn't even be a useful difference for a PC user.
Microsoft has a lot to figure out, is the bottom line. But it also has plenty of time.
I don't think it does really. I think it just needs to pivot to being a publisher, and this Helix thing is essentially their last gasp of like pretending they still make hardware.
And it does feel like pretending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. It just don't need to be that deep.
It really doesn't.
Like, just let it die. Essentially,
I think it's just going to happen organically.
No, yeah.
They're not going to do anything.
I think Helix is definitely going to ease you along that organic road. It's just be like this will be easier to die with, basically. But I think that is going to be what I think. I think Helix is largely a sunsetting of the Xbox hardware idea.
Yeah, and not a cheap way to bow out either. But
no, well, if
anyone can afford it,
it's important that most people can't afford it, so that it doesn't become too popular.
Right. That's a good point.
You're
right, though. Microsoft doesn't want it.
I really do think there's some planned obsolescence happening there.
They're trying to find a convenient way to leave without their
you'd be
fans.
like, oh, well, I guess there's no interest in that. Time to move away from it.
We gave you a chance and you didn't want it, so we made it completely irrationally expensive so you wouldn't want it.
I mean, that's all you need to justify it in the boardroom. So
that's true.
Who gives a shit?
Yep. All right.
I'm obviously going to just buy them on PC and PlayStation, so who cares?
Yeah. Yep.
I will not be buying a Helix. Sorry to spoil the show a year and a half from now. Or
I'll be interested to see how I manage that. There'll be something about not buying an Xbox console that I'll be fighting internally, but you're right. Like, maybe I just buy
not for that kind of
upgrade
money.
My 4070 instead, you know.
The next...
But that could cost even more.
It could cost an arm and a leg.
Seriously.
My next big upgrade will be for Witcher 4.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now.
I think that's probably true for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that is basically... CD Projekt Red is what gets me to upgrade hardware, and it's time to sort of acknowledge it.
All right. Let's move on to our last topic, and this has to be a short one because we're running out of time. The last topic for today's show is loot boxes, something that we have not talked about.
Why won't you die?
We haven't talked about loot boxes on GameFace in like 4 years. Like, I checked because the B-roll for it, the last B-roll we have for loot boxes is 2021, and we're going to run it right now. But it has been a long time since we talked about it because it feels like all the furor around it kind of disappeared. I don't know if people just slowly accepted that that's just the way it's going to be and people got tired of complaining about it. I don't know.
It's a little bit of that. I think it's a little bit that they learned, mostly through Battlefront 2, that you can't have them be gameplay affecting things.
Yeah.
Not in a multiplayer
It has to be
anyway.
all cosmetics, basically. But
and also... that didn't change in the mobile space.
Right.
Like, the Godzilla game I play is play to win now because of a thing they've added, and basically the people who've spent more money for longer are impossible to beat now.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
That's the way a lot of mobile games are.
Yeah.
Pay to win, for sure. Doesn't fly so much with console games, luckily. But here's the thing. It's not really going to fly at all in Europe anymore, because this week, Europe and Zero, is that Europe's ESRB?
CERO. I think it's Zero, but I don't know for sure.
Have basically said that any game that has loot boxes in it going forward will be rated 16 plus in Europe. So Europe has done what America has not had the guts to do, which is actually take this loot box stuff head on.
Increasingly true.
This is one area where the states' rights structure of America is kind of a detriment, because you have seen some states individually go after loot boxes.
Yeah, Zero's Japan.
Zero's Japan. What is Peggy?
Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy is now as a new...
Peggy 18.
Yeah, now it's 16 plus for games with loot boxes. And America, nothing. Japan, I don't think has done anything. But in America, because states' rights have their own laws and rules and things, some states have gone after loot boxes, but we have not done it on the federal level, and it may never happen, in all honesty. But Europe did it.
Not anytime soon.
How do you feel about this? Do you think that games with loot boxes should be locked behind a 16 plus rating?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't think that this is a detriment to our youth or anything, that they're being exposed to gambling at a young age?
I mean, we were exposed to gambling in the form of garbage pail kids, so
or
it didn't matter.
Gumball machines, or
any kind of blind
baseball
box,
cards.
any kind of blind box thing, baseball cards, that trading cards, those are all the same kind of idea. The problem with this is it's so much easier, you can't sell out of loot boxes. At least like the store could stop you from buying tons of garbage pail kids because they ran out.
Yeah.
This is infinite, and if you somehow gain access to your parents' credit card, $5,000 later.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what Europe is trying to avoid here, because if you read anecdotally, like the people who gave statements or gave affidavits for the case, they were mostly parents who had kids who stole their credit card and then spent like $16,000 on Fortnite or whatever without them knowing about it. And those parents are angry enough, and apparently the legislature there is open to it.
Which is like, do you think the age rating would have stopped that?
Yeah.
Because I don't think the PEGI rating is what stops them from stealing your credit card out of your purse, right? Like that.
It's the gambling, though, right? They're hooked on it. I
guess.
I mean, it's just like you go to
but
a
again,
casino and see an 80-year-old woman sitting there pulling the lever on the slot machine for 8 hours straight.
Right, that's more desperation.
It's also an addiction, though.
Somewhat, but it's also like you're the end goal there is, money to eat or whatever. But then
it's not. It's just their addiction. These are rich
can be.
old ladies who are just sitting there wasting their retirement or whatever. Their husband's retirement.
I don't think they're rich, but they're probably not.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are wealthy, and they're just looking for something to spend their money that they've spent their whole lives accumulating on, and they get addicted to gambling. I mean, since sports gambling became legal in Pennsylvania, I have noticed a stark difference in my friends. Like, they want to just sit and watch sports, and they don't want to go out anymore because they're betting on every game. They bet on the dumbest like college football games between like AA teams.
Well, then like every other fucking ad on my Godzilla mobile game is for Kalshi. That bet
Polymarket,
that bet on everything app, or you can bet on the Oscars. You bet on
everything.
And it's like, but they never use the word bet.
No,
they never use the word gamble. They call it trading
in markets.
Yeah.
And that's how they get around a lot of the laws around it, because I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe you can use both Polymarket and Kalshi in states where gambling has not been legalized.
Yeah, they haven't caught on to it yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the states that sell the weed drinks that have been able to get away with it for the last 2 years because there's like a weird loophole. They can't sell weed, but they can sell drinks that have THC in it. It's kind of the same thing, I think. So, in all honesty, I do think loot boxes are a problem. Like, I do think that having an 8-year-old dealing with random stuff. Like, here's the thing, like, kids don't buy the baseball cards. My grandma was buying me the baseball cards. My dad was buying me the baseball cards. They were the ones who ultimately made the decision to spend the money on it. It wasn't me.
Well, that's not true for me.
It was for me.
I bought all that stuff myself.
I think for most people, they rely on their parents to buy stuff when they're 5 to 10 years old.
Probably.
And I did too. And it was my parents.
But once I had my own money from like paper route stuff and stuff, I was spending a lot of it on things like that.
Well, yeah, of course. But most kids, it's like your parents pay for most stuff. So they're kind of like that safety zone between you and the bad stuff.
Well, that's also what parents are supposed to be with this, too.
They are, but for whatever reason, they seem to tune out when it's digital.
Because they just want the kid to be glued to the thing, leave them alone.
It's a babysitter. Yeah. And because it is a babysitter, and because you are using it as a babysitter, I think because the parents aren't going to do their job, they never do, then maybe there should be some kind of protection in there. And if a 16+ rating at least makes a parent think for a second, like, wait, maybe there's something in FIFA that, like, my kid...
I mean, Matt is probably the rationale for doing this.
Making the parents at least think about it.
I mean, when I say I don't care, it means that I don't care if loot boxes get locked behind a 16+ wall.
Oh, right.
Like,
okay.
I don't... Like, if kids can't play games with loot boxes, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Like, oh, well, too bad.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want my nephews that are, like, 8 and 9 years old messing with loot boxes. I don't. Like,
no.
I know what it can do. It can lead to
I don't
other
see
stuff.
any reason to... I see no reason to fight this. And I see no reason, if you're as a publisher, if you're upset about that, then take the loot boxes out of your game.
And I hope America's next.
That's it.
Honestly, because again, just going back to sports gambling, like, it has really transformed my friends into not better people, worse people who are obsessed with like the dumbest crap. It's like you go
when
out
you see all the videos now of people smashing their TVs, and everyone's like, "Why would you do that? Why?" And you always see in the comments like, "He bet on the game. I guarantee you, he bet on the game."
And if you can get them to go out, it's like they're out. They're just sitting there looking at their phone the whole time, waiting to see if their bet hits or not. And if it doesn't hit, their night's ruined. And if it does hit, they buy you a drink. And it's just this like weird. It was never this way. Like, we all love sports, and we go to the bar and watch sports and talk about sports. Now we can't get them to go to the bar and hang out and be social anymore. They just want to sit and watch the TV and see if their bets are going to hit. And it has really transformed society in Pennsylvania. Like, every, like, youngish dude is addicted to sports gambling.
The new meth.
It is. It kind of is. And in some ways, it could be even more detrimental to your life. So I like what Europe has done here. I think they found a good happy medium. They're not outlawing them or making them illegal. They're letting the artists still make their art, if that's the way you want to phrase it. But they're putting something out there.
It's hard to describe EA Football Club as art, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. But at the same time, if a parent sees, wait, FIFA says my kid should be 16 to play the new soccer game? Like, what's in there? Maybe
hot men.
It's probably true. But seriously,
you got to be 16 to look at these games.
Yeah, I mean, they may make them search like, why is the new EA Sports FC 16 plus?
Yeah.
And like, oh, there's loot boxes in there, and then at least they know at least. So
you're gambling. You can play dice against the football players.
No. And knowledge is half the battle, as we've known since we were children. So I hope America follows suit. I'm totally okay with what Europe did.
The other
with
half
loot boxes.
is lasers.
Lasers. So this is a step in the right direction. We'll see if the legislation ultimately goes through and the change ultimately goes through, because a lot of times this stuff looks good in legislature.
Europe is pretty good about getting
making
this
it
stuff
happen
through, because Europe has much stronger consumer protection, like not just laws, but consumer protection philosophies in general as a society than we do.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid to be like, hey, this sucks and it's bad for people, and we're just gonna lay that safety line down. And in America, we're just like, but freedom.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, freedom to live one crisis away from destruction of your entire
apply
existence.
freedom to the worst stuff in
really
America.
dumb shit.
Not what really freedom is, unfortunately.
How about the freedom to sit your kid in front of a video game that's rated for children and know that they're not getting addicted to fucking slot machines? That's a freedom.
Yeah.
That's a kind of freedom, right?
It's actually, yep. All right. That was our last topic for GameFace episode 472, which means there is just one thing left to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune, brought to you by the awesome people at Soundwizardry.com, the absolute gods of sound. If you're working on a game right now and your audio team sucks, call Soundwizardry.com or just go to their website. You can go there and check out their portfolio. It will immediately let you know that who you're working with right now isn't good enough. Go to Soundwizardry.com. Games, film, TV, podcasts, anything you're working on that has audio, they can help you out. Head on over there. They are awesome people. So awesome, in fact, that they sponsor this really cool freaking game that we play called Name That Game Tune, where I play 5 audio samples from a video game, and you try to name the game before this guy right here. This year so far, we have 3 sifters that won, and Matt has won 3 times. So you're actually even right now with the users. But we only have 3 real winners. Everybody can play all year long. At the end of the year, whoever has the most wins will win Name That Game Tune for 2026. So keep playing. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that we do put the chat into slow mode, so you can't spam a bunch of game titles trying to guess the name of the game. Let me bring up the interface. Hey, YouTube people, thanks again. You guys make the show better, but if you want to play Name That Game Tune, you do have to go over to twitch.tv/SIFTD and get in there. We can only play with one chat. And since we still do get more people on Twitch for our streams, we're going to continue to work with the folks over there. So head on over there if you want to play. Let me bring up the interface for me. Are you ready to play Name That Game Tune, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
After I turn up your headphones? Is that good?
A little more.
A little more? How about that?
All right.
Okay. Are you guys ready to play Name That Game Tune? Here's the first sample.
You want to get the chat unpaused?
Oh. Are we not at the bottom? We are not. Yep. Here we go. Oh, we're nowhere near the bottom. I think that Zero thing got people all fired up. Emperor Dread already guessed Body Harvest. That's funny. All right.
Yeah, you got to scroll up a bit. It's still paused.
There we go. All right, we're ready now. Here's the first sample for Name That Game Tune in 3, 2, 1. It's a long one. Any guesses? Friday the 13th? No. Body Harvest? No.
Fallout New Vegas.
No. Emperor Dread, were you here when we actually did Body Harvest? I don't think he was, actually. Oh, wow, these are going so fast, I'm missing them. Let's scroll up here. Friday the 13th, no. Cuphead, no. Starfield, no. Blast Court, no. Borderlands, no. Bioshock 1, no. Fallout 4, nope. 2 guesses of that in a row. Bubsy 3D, nope. Stray, that's not it. Pole Position, that's not it. Dosham the Giant Rogarty, wow, you pulled that one way out of nowhere. That's crazy. It's not it, but wow. Like, that's the first time anyone has ever guessed Doshin the Giant in Name That Game Tune. I guarantee it. Rogarty, thank you for the bits earlier. I saw that. Thank you. I meant to say thank you. Vincent says, I don't have the out of nowhere guess this week. Wasteland 1, no. Star Fox, no. Bioshock, no. Dead Space, no. Zero Wing, no. Clay Fighter 64, no. Any final guesses before we move on to the second sample? Deus Ex Mankind Divided, no. Pat Riley's Basketball. I saw an interview with Pat Riley the other day. He looks like he's like 100 years old. That made me feel old. I was like, oh my God. I just remember him as being this vibrant coach on the sideline with the slick back hair and like...
Don't look up how old John Lithgow is.
Oh, I won't. All right, that looks like the final guess.
Atomic Heart.
No. Here's the second sample. In 3, 2, 1. Any guesses? Mario Kart Advance? Nope. Mario Party? Nope. Rayman? Nope. We Happy Few? That's not it. 2 Mario Sunshines in a row? No. Mario 64? No. Conker's Bad Fur Day? No. Not Rayman. Puzzle Bobble? Nope. Bioshock 2? Nope. Mario Paint? No. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers? That's not it. Ukulele? No. Mario Kart World? That's not it either. Looks like we may make it to a couple clues here. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts? Nope. I would never do that. Times Any, I'll tell you right now, I will never, ever put Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts in this. I hate that game. I really hate it. It rained on my parade. I got lost there.
Rocket Robot on Wheels.
No. Yoshi Story? No. Mario All-Stars? No. Mario Party 3? Nope. Banjo-Tooie? That's not it either. Any other guesses before we go on to the third one? Doesn't look like it. People over on YouTube are still playing. They think that they know it. Oh, we have a winner. Leonosaurus, right there it is. It is Space Station Silicon Valley. Congratulations. There's your round of applause. He had guessed it over on YouTube. And I totally screwed up because somebody on YouTube was like, oh, I know it, but I'm over here on YouTube. And
That was him.
And it was him. But I didn't think that person really knew it. And then I look, and he had put Space Station Silicon Valley in chat. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, Matt's going to look at that, and he's going to know it. And then before I could even think that, he jumped over to Twitch and put it in the Twitch chat. So great job, Leo. What is it? Leonosaurus?
Leonosaurus.
Leonosaurus. We have 4 wins for Sifters and 3 for Matt. Rogarty, thank you for more bits. Oh, wait, I'll play
the main theme instead of applause.
Oh, I did? I played what main theme?
The Sifted main theme?
I don't know how. It's not in this bank. Anyway, I'll play the rest of the samples. I should anyway, so you guys know that the game's on the up and up. Here's the third one. That was a long one. Here's the fourth one. That was a really long one.
Sifted intro music played in full.
Wow. Okay. I don't know how that played. It's not in here. And the video didn't play? I don't know how it's possible. Very interesting. All right. Well, there you go. Those are all 5 samples. Congratulations once again to Leonosaurus. That's going to do it for GameFace episode 472 right here on Sifted at sifted.net. Just a reminder, we are supported pretty much 100% at patreon.com/sifted. That's spelled SIFTD. If you're listening to the podcast version of this show anywhere out on the wilds of the internet, Head on over there for $5 a month. You get all our content early, and you do get an awesome buffer zone of exclusivity, way more than most other gaming content. Patreons. If you can't help us with that, you got no money, but you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can help us out with Twitch Prime. We talk about it on the show all the time. If you're watching on YouTube, it would be great if you could do that. Just go down into the show description below. There's step-by-step instructions on how to connect your Twitch and Amazon accounts. And then once you do that, it's literally just 3 clicks a month to give us $2.50 for free. It costs you nothing. That's why people do it. You can give us free money if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber. Please do it. That would be great. And if you don't have any money and you're not an Amazon Prime subscriber, once again, people over on Spotify, I saw you, another record for comments last week. You guys are coming through, but that's how you can help us. Leave comments for the show on podcast services, review the show on podcast services, like the show, share it on social media. All that stuff can make a huge difference for us. Ring the bell, hit like, subscribe, all that crap. It all makes a difference and can all add up for us to help our business going forward. We'd really, really appreciate it. So next week, Crimson Desert. I feel like there's one other big game that's slipping my mind right now. But I'm excited about Crimson Desert, man. Like, this is a huge X Factor. Like, it could literally be like a Game of the Year contender, or it could just be trash. Like, it really, that's sort of the scale that we're talking about with that game right now.
I will say, like, the videos of the combat are, like, tearing me. Because it's like, on one hand, it looks like there's a lot of interesting things, but on the other hand, I could see it becoming the thing where you gotta like basically pull out like all these crazy combos and things just to kill like basic enemies, and so it takes forever to get anything done because it's like, oh, you gotta fight a bunch of rats. Well, let me pull out 3 swords and like do 40 hit combo and all that. It's like, you know, I don't know. Like, it could go a bunch of different ways.
Oh, show your Rathalos before we go.
I just moved this into the.
For today, for Monster Hunter Stories 3?
No, I moved it because it was nowhere else for it to go in the display room because it doesn't fit anything else.
Oh,
But this is Optimus Prime, but he turns into a Rathalos.
Pretty sweet.
The Monster Hunter crossover they did.
Yep. All right, well, that's going to do it for GameFace.
But it's okay.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody on YouTube and on Twitch, you guys in chat, for all the bits, the super chats, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys so much. And as always, you make the show better every single time. So everybody, have a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.